Welcome, Internet, to the Pixel Play Podcast, your final episode for 2021. I am one of your co-hosts, Kaylan, aka Ktastrophy, joined by a sleuth of hosts this week, including Adam, CSRadical, from our sister podcast, Liv Obeyer, from Between2Gamers, and Kevin, aka the Muffin Man, from our brother podcast, Project XTalk. I've just decided we're all family here now, guys, so let's go with it. We didn't talk about this, so hopefully I'm not offending anyone, but we're going to go with it there. So
we were adopted.
You guys are adopted. You're part of the family now.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He's been trying to disown me since episode 1, so.
Yeah, this has all just been a long, congratulations. You guys have made it to the finals of the interview process and the auditioning for Adam's role. So congrats. You guys have made it this far. I'm sure you guys don't want to abandon your podcast for this one. That's like giving up a rowboat for the Titanic.
Wait, pay?
Yeah. How much is the role? I will jump ship for the right offer.
Well, I'm really... You're now disqualified because I told you not to tell Adam I was going to pay you. Because then he's going to start expecting back pay, and we're not doing that.
Can we pay you in, I don't know, what's the really crappy bit, like cryptocurrency? I know Dogecoin finally started picking up, but,
I can't keep track of all that.
You can just make our own coin and just pay him in that. Ooh, or just tell him it's an internship,
All right, we're going to start paying it in Pixel Play coins or, PP coins because we're children, so.
There we go. That's how it works. Invest now, guys. Buy the dip. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is our final podcast of the year. We're going to be doing a Game of the Year discussion, and so we've brought Kevin and Liv onto the show just because, we're only two people. We can only play so many games, and I thought we'd bring in some different voices, some different opinions, and get that going. So what we're going to be doing this week is we are going to be coming in with our top 3 games each and seeing if we can, talk about some of the games that we like and see, which games were the ones that stood out, maybe which ones were stinkers. We can talk about all that this week. Just a quick thing in case this is anyone's first time. Liv, Kev, do you guys want to kind of introduce yourselves, tell everyone where they can find you, what you guys are all about?
Kev, you want to go first?
I was gonna say, ladies first, please tell them.
Okay. Well, I'm Liv. I am one of the co-hosts of Between2Gamers. My counterpart is in the UK, so he is asleep right now. His name is Frui. We started Between2Gamers last year during the pandemic, and it's been a lot of fun. You can find us in the Between2Gamers link tree, and as well, you can find my own content through that at Obeyer10 on Linktree. You can find me on all social media platforms, pretty much. So if you like what you hear today on the Game of the Year discussion, or you hate everything I play, let me know.
Do you think Frui's offended that we didn't invite him? Should we call him right now and see if he wants to join?
I'm sure that'll get a lovely response.
Let's give him a call. So, I don't want him to feel left out.
Yeah, we'll wake him up in the middle of his dream.
Hey, Fruit, what's your top 3 games of the year? What?
Live from some Englishman's bedroom.
All right, Kev, what about yourself? Introduce everyone.
Yeah, so I'm Kevin, aka the Muffin Man. That is my gamer tag and my handle on every social media. That's a 1 instead of an I and an O instead of an A, as I like to say. I am the host of Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast. So I come over and hang out with these Sony ponies every once in a while. All love, guys. I have a PlayStation 5, as we all know. We don't do console wars. I do just have an Xbox podcast, but we are content creators, me and a group of my friends over there. We also have someone from the UK who is currently sleeping. So
is it Frui? We can call him up.
It's not, as far as I know, unless he's on 2 podcasts, different names.
Multiple identities.
I mean, have you guys ever seen them done podcast? Do you guys podcast at the same time?
I don't think so, but
I'll have to get this out of them.
Yeah, I'll look into it. But anyway, Project XTalk is a weekly Xbox podcast that you can find Thursdays live on YouTube, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We also have a bunch of content that drops throughout the week, from Game Pass and Review, a series where we review all the games on Xbox Game Pass to let you know if they're worth your time. Our Pass or Play series, in-depth video essays. We just did one about everything you need to know about Starfield currently, because not a lot of information, so we summed it all up for you, and that was done by our UK resident Aman. So go check that out. We're on every audio service, so if you could go over there, drop us a rating, review. If you like what you hear, check us out, and I will appreciate it. Other than that, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite, guys.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. As I said, this is going to be the first annual Pixel Play Game of the Year Awards. That's why I dressed up all fancy. We, figured Jeff Keighley's not the only one that can make a fancy game show, award show. So yeah.
Well, we did have Keanu Reeves scheduled, but he seems to have found something else to do. So we can't get them all.
Guys, I think it's time for the Google Play ad break.
Oh yeah. Sorry, damn it! I forgot to get a bag of Doritos specifically for this moment too.
This episode is brought to you by
us.
And by us, there you go.
Do you think I should also do like a cringy thing where I fake talk on my phone for like 3 minutes?
Oh yeah, definitely. People
that was
love
so
that.
stupid.
People love
Master Chief, don't go in there. Like,
oh my god.
I said it on the previous episode, but like, if you had to do the bit, just go, "What's that, Nick Fury? Oh, hang on, I'm actually got to do an award. I'll call you right back." So we all be like, "Oh, I get that." But then it turned into like 3 minutes of like, do you want to be somewhere else, man? Like, you cool?
Oh man, that was so brutal.
It was,
but it was. Look. If you get a choice, here's our first question of the show. If you get a choice, do you get that or do you get another Just Dance number?
The Just Dance number. Those things are bomb.
For sure.
Okay, so maybe I'm the only one that cringes at them.
Dude, those are the best. You get like some furry in a panda suit coming out doing like the floss. Man.
I guess when you think about it, though, it's probably the most enjoyable part about a Ubisoft press conference, apart from like, Aisha Tyler trying really, really hard to make Girlwood a thing.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's you just gotta wait to see how they fit it in. Like that's the best part.
What the Just Dance or the Girlwood? No,
the Just Dance part. How did they fit that in?
I don't know, but I'm sure. Okay, you know what? Can we get Keanu Reeves in a Just Dance number? Like, just let's go full blown with it.
I would like to see. I would like to see that.
All right, well, there you go, Jeff Keighley. I got your ideas. Get on it for next year. I'll expect the check in the mail later, since Kaylan doesn't pay me anyway. So.
I told you this is a lucrative internship. You can put it on your resume.
Executive producer.
Don't give him executive, just producer.
Yeah, there's only one production job.
All right, guys. So I figured what we'll do, we'll go around the table. We each came with 3 games that we thought were the best representations of 2021. I'm going to keep the rules very loose, up to interpretation, however you want to do this. If you want to give some criteria on what you were thinking, how you kind of came up with the decisions, feel free to do so. But I am going to let you guys loose in that sense. So yeah, we'll do 3, 2, and then we all kind of came with an honorable mention or something random, and then we'll do our top game of the year. Who would like to go first?
I think we should make you.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
You're all dressed up.
We could definitely do this. So my number 3 game of the year was Bugsnax. So this came out, I think, may have came out in December, but it was free on PlayStation Plus. So I'm going to include this because, let's be honest, most people played this in 2021. And this game, I had very little expectations about, just because, the only thing I knew about Bugsnax was the catchy little "Talking About Bugsnax" song. And so that's all I knew. And I, getting it for PlayStation Plus at the perfect time. I had just finished Miles Morales. And so I was like, hey, let's give this a shot. And this game got me by the hooks. I was in really deep with this game. I thought it was really simplistic in its gameplay. It was easy to understand, really chill, really vibe. It kind of had a little bit of a Pokemon feel to it, in the sense that you've got all these different creatures, different habitats, different times of day, and you're going out and you're just trying to catch them, with different baits and traps. And I thought it was really cool. I thought the story was a little I didn't really care about the story too much. I didn't really resonate with the characters all that much, but I thought the gameplay of just going around and collecting these different bugs with different abilities or different characteristics was really cool. And for it to be offered day one as a PlayStation Plus game, and I think the DLC is coming out too. And I think it's going to be free. I know, and it's supposed to be free, right? Like, this is just free. Like, to have a game like that come out so well. I thought it was really cool.
Wow.
What about you guys? Did anyone else play Bugsnax?
Well, I can tell Liv over there is ecstatic about this pick. So I'm gonna save my thoughts. I want to hear how excited, because she's bursting at the seams over there.
Because no one I know has played this game, and it was so cute. This was the first game that I played. So when I got my PS5, I got it at Christmas last year, and I played Astro's Playroom, and then after that, I played Bugsnax. And it was the first game that I played and platinumed on my first run of the game. And I was a very easy platform. Yeah, but the game was so cute.
I played it too, but like the only thing that I got to is it eventually got to a point where I felt like it was so repetitive that I kind of just got bored of it. But like the first 2-3 hours I played of it, I was loving it. Especially by the time you get to the giant dragon like sushi.
Oh yeah.
They're so creative and cute. And also I got to play basketball in that game, and I love games that let me play basketball. And also, I won't say
they missed out on an
not gonna do
opportunity then,
spoilers,
Liv.
right?
They could have had you throw like a ball that was made of Kobe beef.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
So for the Game of the Year discussion, are we staying spoiler free?
Yeah, we'll try and be that a little bit, just because we're trying to
Okay.
convince some people to play some games. But I mean, if you
Okay. I wanted to, before I said what I was going to say, I wanted to know how vague it had to be. But the ending of that game, the ending sequence, is low-key a horror game. You see this interesting, creature of sorts, and I was like, what is happening?
I did watch the
takes a
remainder
turn.
because I wanted to know what happened, and I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to happen by the end of this.
Yeah,
And
no.
Also, you could kill everyone in that game, too.
What?
Yeah. So you know how you can make them overdose on bug snacks. So so
You're a drug dealer.
So you know how you feed them and their body parts turn in? Okay, so there's like a trophy for like make sure all of them have different like body parts for like each of the food. So if you give them more and I don't know what the threshold is, but you could have them overdose by bug snacks. And this is sneaky pick of the year. Bug snacks horror game.
Yeah.
Get the Five Nights at Freddy's guys on that.
This is like pretty chill, and then all of a sudden it takes a beeline and just gets weird.
Dropping bombs.
What is it with like presumably children stuff always just suddenly getting really dark by the time the story's near over? It's just like, guys, why?
It's because they lure the parents in with this cute family friendly vibe,
and then give children nightmares.
Then their kids have nightmares. Yo, I love this pick, and I'm right there with Liv. I am the only one I know that has played this game and actually loved this game. I got my PlayStation 5 on launch day, and I platinumed Astro, my first ever platinum, because it's my first ever PlayStation. PS5 is my first PlayStation ever. And then I went right to Bugsnax, and I got the platinum for Bugsnax too, because this game was so much fun. It gave me the vibes of like the old school Pokemon Snap, like, oh, I gotta figure out like how to get them to react a certain way. How can you get the Bugsnax to move into the direction you need it so you can capture it and move into the trap? It's an absolute blast, and I love the DualSense. I think it's an underrated feature playing this game is that all the Bugsnax names come out of the controller. So every time you like tap one, it's like strawberry or like bunker. And I'm like, oh, bunker. Yeah. I absolutely like this is one of the best game. Like when I was holding my DualSense, I was like, I love this controller just for this. Like I want Bugsnax. And then the DLC announcement, I was like, this is the only good thing in the state of play. This is the only thing I care about.
all I know.
This is what's keeping me holding on to the Mortal Coil.
And you know what the best part of the DLC is?
It's free.
It's free.
Other than that, the Bugsnax get to wear hats.
Oh.
All I know is I really want a Bugsnax Pokemon kind of game now.
Oh yeah.
This is honestly, I feel like what Pokemon needs to become. Like
this is what Pokemon Snap should have been.
Yeah.
You want to fight the Bugsnax, is what I just heard.
No,
no.
Well, okay, fine.
No, just the capturing.
Gotta catch them all.
I don't want to
look.
I just want to.
I just really want to watch a case of fries go one-on-one with, I don't know, a s'more butterfly. Why not?
To be fair, what's worse, capturing animals and having them fight each other, or capturing them and then force feeding them to your friends?
They seem to like it in the game.
Yeah, they seem pretty down for it.
Yeah, they seem to be like, eat me.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Strawberry.
So cute.
So good. Such a good game. So yeah, that's my number 3.
That's a great choice.
I love how like 2 people said I'm the only one that I think ever played it, and yet we're in a room of 4 people that have all played it.
This is crazy. Like
I
none
know.
of us were interested in this. They're like,
why
are you playing this? I was like, okay, look how cute everything is.
I brought this up on my podcast, and I was ridiculed. All right,
That game made me immediately go and order takeout because I really wanted burgers suddenly.
Right?
Hunger.
This was like secretly sponsored by McDonald's and like big burger like.
No. Those burgers were way too big to be sponsored by McDonald's. Let's be honest.
True. All right, let's keep going. I'll go according to my grade. I'll go to the right. So, Kev, you're next on my list. What was your number 3 game of 2021?
Oh, okay. So my number 3 game of 2021 was a new game, Psychonauts 2. This game is phenomenal, and I don't know if anyone hasn't checked it out because I want to make this very clear. The art style, not my favorite. It's kind of I never played the first Psychonauts, even though I'm a huge 3D platforming guy, mainly because the art style kind of puts me off. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this one a chance. Previews came out, everyone was like, this is amazing. And this game is phenomenal. The way that, if you can look past the art style, the actual 3D platforming, the collectathon, if you're into those type of games, this is the best one to come out this year, hands down. It has a really good story. The narrative is fantastic. All the voice acting is really good. And then you have a hidden, subtle message about mental health issues. All the enemies are kind of dealing with mental health and trauma. Like you have to fight censors and I'm trying to think of some other enemies, but there's the whole enemy system is based on mental health issues, and that really resonates when you play it, especially if you're. I have a psychology degree, so when I was going through, I was like, this makes a lot of sense. Like I get what they're doing here. You have to go in and make mental connections between like these little thought bubbles in everyone's brain. It works really well. I think it's a fantastic game. And it's on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation 2 if you want to go play the PS4 version because they didn't make a PS5 version because crowdfunding being bought by Microsoft. But anyway, you can play this game. I would highly recommend going to pick this one up.
Yeah, it's definitely something I wanted to take a look at. I never actually played the original either. It was just one of those games that kind of passed me by, which is interesting because I also was a bit of a fan of Tim Schafer's games because Brutal Legend was a big one for me back around that same time. So. And just from looking at the visuals here, like it is a very, very like niche art style, but it does look really good. I mean, I think it's one of those art styles that probably looks a lot better now because we have better fidelity than we used to.
For sure.
Whereas like I've seen old what the original looks like. I'm like, it's a little bit rough with that art style, but
you don't need to play the original one. It has a nice little recap at like a cutscene at the start of this one. So it'll recap the entire first game, and it'll recap the Rhombus of Ruin, the PSVR title, which I didn't even know existed before this game. So, yeah, so that's all canon, but you don't need to play it. You'll pick up the story right away.
Oh, that's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I see. This is one of those things that when you said it's on PS or when it's on PS4, like that kind of blew my mind because this has one of those games that just feels like, I know it's a Microsoft game and it was sponsored heavily by them, but like I never even realized it was a PS4 game. I think I agree with your sentiment, like the art style. Like I don't think it's the art style that bugs me so much, but like the color choice, like it has a very greenish brown kind of thick color. Yeah. When you compare it to something like and not to, beat the like comparisons, but like you got something like Kena or you got something like Ratchet, which is a lot more bright and colorful, and then you have something that's this drab green. It just doesn't pop as much. Yeah. But I've heard nothing but awesome things about Psychonauts 2, but I kind of thought it was kept behind an Xbox gate kind of thing. But it's cool to know that it's on PS4 as well, so I might have to actually check this out.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you played this one, Liv?
No, I haven't, but I've heard great things about it.
Yeah.
Look, we have one game that we all play. We had to get to a point that like it was a game that only one person did. So
yeah, I think it's more of a niche title, to be fair. Like I know it got a lot of praise, and like it was nominated for a bunch of game awards, but I think
it was a Game of the Year nominee, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So I think
critically categories.
I think critically it was been well received. I don't know how it's done commercially. Like,
it does come up like one of those games that like you probably are pretty well in the know to even take a look at it first.
But I mean, I wonder if that's one of those games that does need to have that huge critical success. Like I can't imagine it was super costly or like they have a lot to recuperate. Like surely they do. They have their own teams and stuff to keep, but it's probably not something like a Call of Duty that needs.
Well, and getting the Game of the Year nomination is a big deal. It's the same thing that I said last week about Tales of Arise getting the best RPG award. Like that's a big deal because people will then be like, "Oh, that won an award. I wonder what. I wonder. I'll even take like at least watching a trailer. It's a start, right?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting though if you think about this year, like how many like classic platformers we got. Like they were pretty popular this year for like making a resurgence.
And I love it. Let's keep
Yeah,
it going.
right?
Banjo-Kazooie next year. Let's go.
Well, all our
God.
first-person open world games had to get pushed back another year because we forgot how to make them.
Yeah.
Except one.
We'll hop over to Adam for this round. Adam, what's your number 3?
All right, this one's probably a little more boring, but considering my list is very small, it's the best I can do. Back 4 Blood's going to be my number 3. Now, it's a game that I will say in retrospect is like, okay, this is probably a game that I'll need to wait and to see how they really flesh it out in the long term, but like for what it was at launch and just being able to go back and play essentially what's like a better version of Left 4 Dead with all my friends, just being able to get some of that nostalgia back, like I couldn't complain at all. And especially with obviously looking like a game that wasn't made 15 years ago, and then on top of that, adding of what I thought was a pretty interesting system with the cards that they have now, where you can actually like make your characters better as you go along. I thought they did a good job of at least, not just making it a carbon copy, and they found a way to kind of differentiate a little bit to make it, not completely just more of the same. It just takes what we already know and I mean, essentially just improve it. Now, there still is some issues that I can take with it, which apparently they're starting to address in a patch that's coming soon, because it is way too hard if you don't play on the easiest difficulty still. You have to do a lot of work to get good enough cards now, but the fact they're going to start reducing damage and increasing damage from you in the later modes is going to make that a little more doable for people that aren't apparently amazing at first-person shooters, like Counter-Strike Global Offensive level really good. So it is making it probably in the next, let's say, well, I guess in 2021 as a whole, there will probably be a better chance of it definitely seeing the improvements we want. And if they start opening mod support too, that's going to really extend its shelf life, because Left 4 Dead still to this day gets ridiculous mod support. So I can only imagine what people, when they get their hands on the engine and seeing what they can pull off with it, there's a lot of cool combinations you could definitely do with it.
I have a lot to say on Back 4 Blood. If people will let me go off for a little bit here.
You can. I didn't play, so you can have my time.
Okay.
Go off, King.
So this is actually in my one of my biggest disappointments of the year category,
which I could understand, honestly.
Spicy! Let's do it.
I wanted to like this game so much, and I did for about an hour. And so like I played the beta, and me and all my friends, we were playing the beta, we were going through it, and we're like, the beta, if you played the beta, it was super easy. You basically got auto aim, like you hit left trigger and the ADS automatically snapped for a headshot. It was ridiculously easy, even on the highest difficulty in the beta. So I was like, okay. But then they overcorrected when the main game came out and made everything super hard. So I completed it. I went through the story, non-existent. I haven't the slightest idea what I was doing. It's not like the Left 4 Dead campaigns where like everything was kind of fun, and even if it wasn't like a big overarching story, you kind of had like those contained, like this is what we're escaping Hollywood this time or whatever. But this one, I was like, the story is nonsense, who cares? But the card system I found irrelevant most of the time. I felt like nothing I put on ever really mattered. The only thing that mattered was the challenge cards, like the enemy ones that came in before the mission started. And some of those can really screw you over. Like if you're in the later stages, they're like, hey, we're gonna have increased boomer spawns, and all the boomers are also gonna leave toxic sludge and fire everywhere and 9 other different effects. And I'm like, bro, calm down.
That's another thing they're addressing too, is the special spawns, because they were a lot.
Trying to play on normal here. Let's relax.
Just here to have fun.
And then my big thing, the final boss might be the worst final boss in any video game I've ever played.
I have not gotten that far because me and my friends have eventually like paused for a bit. So
I hope they address the issues before you get there, because it is incredibly frustrating. it's like multiple waves of zombies while you fight this giant monster, like tentacles, and then you go underground for like multiple times. Just hit my microphone. But it's just, and then there's holes you can fall into. It's incredibly frustrating. It's difficult. And at one point, we got a glitch where you had to shoot its mouth, but they wouldn't open the mouth. So we were kind of like trying to shoot in between its teeth.
Oh.
And it took us about 30 minutes to do like a quarter health of damage. And we're like, should we just give up and like restart it? And we're like, no, like we've got this far. So we literally were running out of ammo just trying to get it done. It was frustrating.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I think, like, what I do like about it is just the camaraderie. It is one of those games that I can go back to and play, like, a few rounds of, like, literally, we'll just go back to that jukebox mission and just go nuts, and we love it. But,
That's
like, you know, as an actual, like, full-on game, there's definitely so much room that they have to improve it. They probably rushed it out and didn't really think too much ahead of it. But I mean, as of what it is, I got exactly what I wanted out of it, and a little bit more than I thought I was going to get. But I also went in just thinking, they'll probably just make a bunch of levels, and it'll be just about this more of the same. And then by the time that it came out, I'm like, okay, you got some cool characters that do some unique stuff. Some of the cards, you know, yeah, some of them are pretty useless depending on how deep you get. But like, there are things that I've gotten towards the later end where like, I looked at it and like, okay, I can almost make myself OP in the easier difficulties because now I can just have way more equipment than I ever need. So there are some things that I end up finding being a lot more useful. Also, just being able to have a knife so I can just stab things repeatedly over and over and over again is just delightful.
Did you play the multiplayer?
That's gonna sound terrible when we cut that into like with no context.
I'm okay with that. I'll just keep doing it. Let's
Did you play PvP?
If you're talking like with randoms, a little bit, but mostly it was with like a group of 4. So
No, you could be the monsters.
oh, oh, you mean the PvP? Oh no, I have not taken a look at that.
Yeah. I just don't know why they changed it from Left 4 Dead. Like everyone loved the Left 4 Dead multiplayer where you could play as the zombies in like the story and like try to ruin people's runs. And this one is just like straight up team deathmatch, but you switch like army and monsters.
I mean, to be honest, the original mode didn't do much for me anyway. So when I saw that they were going to bring it back in this, I'm like, I don't care. I just want to shoot endless waves of zombies. I'm cool with that. But I mean, it's not surprising that that's like a dicey mode anyway, because I find with a lot of games that are more like meant for co-op that when they try to put a PvP in there, it's always not really well thought out because they figure they just have to put one in there because every game with guns has to have PvP in it.
Liv, you played this one?
I haven't finished it because I'm playing with Furry, so we can only play on the weekends, and not all of our weekends have lined up. So it's I'm playing with him, my girlfriend who's also in the UK, and then another one of our friends who's an hour behind me. So we're working with like a 6-hour time difference. So like we're on Act 2, and I'm not very good at shooter games, so I kind of hold the group back a little bit. But I like the decorations in the game. I like there's graffiti everywhere. I spend a lot of time looking around. You're not going to get, like, actual analysis about the game for me. So, like, so if you're looking for that, you already heard it. It's my turn to shine. I have a problem with some of the decorations repeating. A lot of the book titles repeat. But also, you can yeah, no, I'm serious. So...
We talk so good about bug snacks, and now Liv's going to here be like, the books are copied.
They're reusing book assets in Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, no.
Immersion breaking
they
right
reuse
there.
a lot of the stuff, but also like a lot of the environment you can't break, but also like all the cans and like all the soda bottles, you would stab them and then they just disappear. Where'd it go? Bothers me.
This has been the little things with Liv.
Little things with Liv. Yeah, other than that, yeah, it's fun. But
I like the control chaos.
Environment a little lower on the scale for me personally.
Immersion breaking. There's more than like. There's not enough books.
I need 5,000 different books in there. I want this to look like the initial Amazon warehouse. Okay.
And I just like if I can hit a soda can and it despawns, it just like yeets itself to oblivion. Like, why can't I knock over chairs and stuff? Like, either have everything breakable or everything not breakable. Why is it disappearing?
This makes me think that we need Red Faction back.
But what about the fruit?
So, like, as you can see from my analysis, this is why Furry and I haven't finished the game.
Yeah, it has nothing has nothing to
me.
do with your gameplay levels, you know.
It's because he goes 5 miles ahead of me. I'm still looking around, and
You're just
he's
checking
like,
every
Liv.
book.
He's like, Liv, I'm down, and I'm like, well, like, did
It's
you
like, yeah,
notice
I'm
that
down
there's
too
3
on how
pages?
horrible these books physics are.
Yeah, he's down on the ground, like, getting eaten alive, and I'm like, our 2 other teammates that are like on their way, like in between us, because they're like, he's so far ahead, and she's so behind. And I was like, why does this house have 3 of the same painting? This is really annoying. And then
Liv's
my
just
girlfriend's like,
stabbing the couch, see if she
Liv,
can
we
break
gotta.
it.
She's like, Liv, like, you know, like, Fruity's waiting for us. He's like, he can wait. Like, I'm still like.
Guys, I've created a
Looking
monster in here in this show.
So,
Liv,
no, I have nothing to say about its actual gameplay.
Sounds like you have lots to say about the game. Just
Visually.
Liv's all about the aesthetics. Liv, what's your number 3 game for 2021?
So this is a game that came out in August called Road 96. I have a feeling that a couple of you might not have heard of it.
I think you mentioned it actually the last time you were on.
You
Yeah.
did mention it last time you were on.
Yeah, so I did do that because
But
I think
please,
it's
go
really
on.
important. It's a really important game. So I'll just keep it like short. But this game is a choice-based game, which I love choices. And it's about a politically torn country, and there's 3 main endings of the game. And you basically can try to influence the election for each of the candidates, or you can totally just like try to overthrow the government, or just flee, just like keep going. So there's a lot of people that you get to meet, and they will teach you skills, and you could like, it's a lot of people keep calling it the hitchhiking game, which you can hitchhike, or you could just steal cars and drive all the time, or you could walk. But there's a lot of variability in the game, and I like choice-based games because they give you a lot of replayability factor. You don't have to play the same time way every time. I played 2 times, and I liked the ending I just got more recently. But it's a really serious game. It really tests your like border politics, but also there's a lot of lighthearted moments. You get to play air hockey. I made $200 gambling at the carnival. I won a badge at the carnival, and like I really like playing games in games, and it's just like I like taking a second to like relax and just hang out. I don't have to play the actual story every so often, but like I get to do like my side hustle and play some like soccer and stuff like that too. So it's really an important game, just a narrative, but it also like has a lot of fun to it. So it's a little indie game. It's only on Switch and Steam, but I can't recommend it enough.
That reminds me, I still forgot to wishlist it, so I better make sure I do that this time.
That's awesome. Now, because you played it twice, does it kind of fall into that trap that like Telltale games used to, where it's like you're pretty much going on the same path? It's just what kind of spice you're putting on along the way.
So there were a couple scenes that actually have to happen narratively,
Mhm.
but there are, I think, 6 or 8 characters that you have to interact with, and they each have like a completion of their story arc.
Mhm.
So depending on like, did you decide to like hitchhike? Did you decide to take the bus? Did you just walk? Did you not talk to these people? You might miss certain scenes. But I have in my 2 playthroughs, which took me I think 12 total hours. It's not a very long game,
Mhm.
but I have seen all of the all of the character arcs. And then there's just like, I don't want to play the really assholey way, so I won't see that ending. I'll just like see it on YouTube. But there are some scenes that like you have to play, so you do fall into that. But there are other times like you could totally skip scenes. You could like, your character could get killed in the very first scene. You get to play as like multiple people trying to escape the country. So like, you might not see everything if you decide to like walk and you're hungry and you forgot to eat because you had no money, or you couldn't steal something, so you're dead. So you might see a lot of stuff, you might not, depending on how observant. Click on everything.
There you go.
That's the golden rule of those games.
I do.
Talk to Jen about that at Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Queen.
Kev, just to get you caught up, my wife is playing Skyrim, and basically, if she
Yeah,
can pick
she-
something up, she picks it up, and then she
and then sells it. Yeah.
No, like not like that's part of the game. That is the game for her.
I understand. Queen.
I've heard your stories when I listened to the podcast.
Yeah,
I've,
yeah. So
I've heard
you've heard of Jenny Bezos
Yes, absolutely.
destroying the economies of Skyrim.
Liv,
Love that for her.
if you like games where you can play games inside of games, I recommend Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Yes.
play lots of games within games. If you want to
Ooh.
be the CEO of a company and spend 6 hours climbing your way up leaderboards.
Do you want to play like 2 hours worth of this weird like mini car game where you're a homeless person trying to collect cans off the street?
Yes, it's great.
That sounds amazing.
Ooh,
There is some
okay.
wacky
Yeah.
shit in those games.
So real quick, because like Kev, have you played this game?
No, I haven't.
All right, I'm gonna throw it out to the question because like when you said like I love games that have mini games, like there are some that have caught me too, and like for me, I think the best mini game I've ever played was that had mini games was Assassin's Creed Black Flag because they had like a chess game. Those games just I lost so many hours playing in like their pirate version of like chess. Or
Oh, it's like
I
people
forget what
with
it's called.
Witcher where they played so much Gwent.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I
They made
liked
it.
bowling in GTA 4. I was stupidly good at tennis in GTA 5 for whatever reason. Like, I did the decathlons, the triathlons all the time.
yeah.
But Yakuza, Like a Dragon, check it out.
That game is
okay.
one that I gotta restart that game. I decided to go on the harder difficulty, and that was whipping my ass. I'm like, I think I need to take a little bit easier route on this.
I like to
That-
play on easy or normal if I'm pushing myself.
Yeah,
That was-
I stick to normal unless like I'm dominating.
Yeah, that was my game of the year last year. I guess phenomenal.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the little bit that I played of it so far, but I gotta probably restart it on easier difficulty because there is way too much grinding that I have to do to keep up with it.
Yeah. For me, my number 2 was Hitman 3. So another game early in the year. I've always been a Hitman fan. I've played all of them, even Absolution for whatever that game was. And I feel like the first 1 and 2 they were good, but they didn't quite hit me. Like they certainly felt like old school Hitman, but like I don't know. The especially Hitman 2 I didn't find clicked as much as like the older games did. Hitman 3 though, I felt it's very much the same games, but I felt like the level designs were much more of a higher caliber. I mean, if you've played Hitman 3, you know like there's one level where you're playing in like basically you're playing Knives Out, like you are playing as a detective solving like a murder mystery, and it's just the level design is so much nicer. Like the story is I'd say somewhat better, but still not great. Like the games have never been about the story; it's always just been about the puzzles. And I feel like Hitman 3 really encapsulates that with the puzzles and like the level designs are really neat. And there's a lot of different ways of doing it. The thing I find, and it's the new way that they do it with those scores and like the unlocking of tools and stuff. I feel like that's always been kind of a weird choice that I'm not a big fan of. Same with them like listing out here's all the ways you can kill the player, like the targets. I love it, but I kind of miss the old like kind of just running and gunning and screwing around in the missions. But yeah, I thought Hitman 3 was sort of the pinnacle in terms of taking everything that they've learned from 1 and 2 and kind of putting it into a new game. Looks great, plays great, you know, it has a ton of replayability, and I love just kind of going back and just going through the levels and finding new ways of carrying out executions and all that stuff. So yeah, did any of you guys play Hitman 3?
I have not, but my girlfriend has, and she really liked it. Because,
Yeah.
you know, on the PS5, you could parallel play with each other. So I've been
Mhm.
playing, like, Death Stranding. She's been playing Hitman, and she shared her screen with me. And she was like, ooh, like, do you think I should do this? Or do this? And I was like, do what feels right to you, queen. Do it. And then she'll be like, you know, I'm going to play the level again and do it a different way. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to deliver my packages.
Yeah, no, the targeting and like the characters you have are really interesting, and like some of the ways of going about and like getting to your target and getting rid of them is really cool.
It's
You can go.
I was just gonna say it's one of those games that like I really keep wanting to try to get into, but I think my patience level just doesn't cooperate with it. Cause like I tried to play the original like when they brought it back, and every time I play a level, I'm like, I gotta wait for this very specific moment to get past this guy, but no, I want to kill stuff. Let me kill stuff. And then I play Metal Gear Solid 5, and I'm like, yeah, I can kill stuff.
So I haven't played Hitman 3, but I claimed Hitman 2 when it was on PS Plus, and then
Mhm.
like did how you can upgrade it into Hitman 3 to like upgrade the graphics and whatever.
Mhm.
Not for me. These games are not for me. And I like stealth. Like Splinter Cell is one of my favorite series ever. Like I like stealth games like that.
Mhm.
Something about this does not click for me. I like the idea of it. I'm like, oh man, like I wonder if I could do this. But ultimately I just end up in like a shootout getting mowed down because I'm like, I don't know what I did to make you guys mad. Like I was just walking here. So I'm just bad at it. I think it's like something doesn't click for me. And also at the same time that I was playing that, I was reviewing Sniper Ghost Warrior Elite 2 contracts, which is funny enough a similar type of game where you're put into a sandbox and just told like you can complete the mission however you want. Um, and I had a lot more fun in that. And I know that's a hot take, but
Very much so.
if I had to go back to one, I'm going back to this this game.
Well,
over
because I
there.
imagine
So
with Sniper
snipe
Ghost
people.
Warrior, like you actually, get the freedom to kill stuff once in a blue moon rather than like spending 5 minutes trying to dart around stuff to get to one person.
Yeah, and that can be an issue with Hitman, is that it isn't very forgiving in the sense that like it's trying, like the if you're playing Hitman on a high level in terms of success and doing well, you aren't killing a lot of things. You are killing just your target. So yeah, that cathartic, guns out, I'm just everyone here, like no one's leaving with a pulse kind of thing, doesn't really work with Hitman. And that's one of the gripes that I have with it, is that like I find it's very methodical in that, like, as much as it feels like there's any way to kind of take out your target, it really is sort of set puzzles, and you're just trying to get to the end of those puzzles,
Mhm.
as opposed to, it's not a true play however you want. Like you have to pull certain levers and tug at certain threads in order to get it to a position where you can take out your target. But yeah. Number 2 for me. I really enjoyed it though.
Fair enough.
Kev,
Is
what
it
about
my
you? What
turn?
was your number 2?
My turn. Okay, time to go full Xbox fanboy over here. Halo Infinite is my number 2 game. Not only is the multiplayer the best first-person shooter I have played in a decade, the campaign is also phenomenal. The introduction of the open world elements really adds a lot of, and this is gonna sound like a pun, but it really evolves the combat of Halo. Yes. And I think tons of people have probably made that. But the fact that people have been comparing it to Far Cry, and I'm like, this is nothing like Far Cry, because the open world segments of Halo Infinite feel just like doing mini Halo missions. Like they feel kind of like going into those linear Halo missions, but they're in the open world space. So you get a lot more ways to tackle them. Like if I want to fly in on a wasp and take everyone out, that's great. If I want to grapple hook in and sword everyone, I can do that. If I want to climb the tallest mountain and then jump off with my rockets firing down at the sky, I've done it. It's phenomenal. It's hilarious. The game just gives you so many ways, and then like there's so much lore in the side objectives. I really feel like it enhanced the world I was exploring. And then the main story, even if you were just go in and do the main missions, if you're a Halo fan, you're gonna love this game. They basically retconned, not really retconned, but like fixed the issues of 4 and 5. And kind of this is their reboot. This is their new, like what God of War 2018 did is kind of what Halo Infinite did, where you don't need to ignore what came before. We're starting fresh. This is a Master Chief and the weapon story from now on, and this is where we're gonna go from here. So I feel like they nailed it. Yes, there are some things that are missing. Co-op is missing. Forge is missing. They've had a lot of backlash in multiplayer with progression and playlists, but they've added playlists. They've basically fixed progression in my eyes. They're still gonna make some tweaks to it, but as an overall package, I would happily pay $60 for this and love every minute of it.
Yeah, the couple of things that I've heard from friends that I know of playing it is like the grappling hook is fucking amazing, is the main thing that I
So
hear.
good. I
And
was Spider-Manning across mountains
and
because the
then
cooldown is so small.
well,
Sorry,
that's the
just
point too. Is like there's so like the mobility from what I've seen is just so heavily increased with it now. So there's so much more that you can do. But the one thing that I have heard is that I mean it's an open world game, so it's not surprising, but it can get very repetitive if you're trying to complete as much as you can.
Yeah, that's a similar concern that I've heard from like my friends who are playing as well, is that the environments and the levels can feel somewhat samey. Once again,
Mhm.
hearing generally great things, but that is, I think, the common complaint that I've been hearing is that the open world feels repetitive and there's not a lot of difference between them.
The one thing that the one thing that I noticed with like say I watched a Video Game Donkey's little thing that he did recently on it, and the one key thing that he said that I kind of noticed was, why is the campaign levels so similar all the time, and yet the multiplayer levels are so like the variety is insane with them.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Most of the time, you're going to see that northwest Pacific type landscape with the trees and the green, and then the main missions. You'll probably get a lot of Forerunner metal structures. So there isn't a lot of diversity in the biomes here, but this is supposed to be the Halo for the next 10 years, and we already know that DLC story is coming. They already trademarked something called the End List, so it would not surprise me if they're saving the other biomes for like those types of missions, and like, hey, this is going to be the wintry type of area for this story mission. But that's a completely fair criticism, and I think it never felt repetitive for me. I put 22 hours into it, and I 100%ed the map, so I did everything.
Well, that's not bad then if it's only like 20 hours.
Yeah. No, it's very quick, because there isn't 9,000 little objective markers like there are in Ubisoft games.
Yeah, that's where like I think most people set that marker at, like the 60, 70, 80 hour campaigns in Assassin's Creed, where like you have the same 5 things that you do 200 times.
Yeah. This is like you have 7 banished outposts. You have like 10 marine rescue squads to go do. Like there are a very limited number of optional objectives to do.
Have you played any of the multiplayer yourself though?
Oh yeah, I love the multiplayer.
That's the other thing too, is like most people have said, look, the campaign's not bad, but like the multiplayer is so good.
But I mean, I think like, has that not been the case with Halo? Like since, like I think Halo 1 is probably the first, like the one that like had more campaign, but like afterwards they've always sort of been known as their multiplayer games.
Well,
like, and that is not to take away, like the Halo campaigns are good, but like people go there for the multiplayer. Like the multiplayer is the drawing factor, I would argue.
It's the Xbox Call of Duty, you could say.
Not like in a pejorative way, but like it's like people go there for the multiplayer. Like that's what really, like, am I wrong, Kev?
No, I think most people probably do play multiplayer more than the campaign, and I think you would see that because a lot of people didn't care, that they were like, oh, co-op campaign's not going to be there at launch. Who cares? Who does that? And it's like a good portion of the community, but most people do just play multiplayer and stick around for the multiplayer. I'd say 2 and 3 are well regarded in both areas. 4 is my least favorite Halo ever. I think it's garbage. But people like the story of 4, and multiplayer is terrible. And then 5 is the story's bad and multiplayer is pretty decent. So this is like 343's first Halo where they're like, hey, we have a good story and a good multiplayer. Is it as good as what Bungie did with like Halo 2? Probably not. But like
who's getting to that level, right?
Exactly. Like you're not gonna. They were scoring 97s on Metacritic. Like to reach that level today, I don't know what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, finish a game completely without sending it out the door, which doesn't happen in the industry anymore. So
yeah.
Yeah, Halo Infinite, my
Awesome.
pick.
Adam, what about yourself? What's number 2?
Okay, we're gonna go super chill now on this one, and it might be a little bit off the board for most people, but in the little time that I did play, because it's not a very long game, I probably felt so comfortable playing Unpacking that I couldn't care less like what people thought about it. The fact that I could have like a 4 or 5 hour journey and just be super chill, like I can't complain at that point. I had my complaints, obviously, when I did my review here on the show. I really lamented about the fact that the game really specifically does not want me leaving my Game Boy in certain places of the house, which is very insulting to me. I don't like being judged very harshly by a game. When it's my apartment, I can put stuff where I want it, but it didn't seem to want to do that. But, you know, in terms of actually playing the game, like, it is exactly what I wanted, which is a game where it's just super chill and you do very little. Like, it's just, you sit down, you play a couple of levels. I just got one of my friends to play it, and he said the exact same thing. It's like, dude, this is the most comfortable I've felt in a while. It's just that kind of game that, like, you can just kick back and just kind of sink into your chair for as ever long as you go. And it's just one of those things that, like, it's same with Coffee Talk last year, where just, I appreciate games that aren't trying to be overly intense. It's just something that just actually calms you down, which there's not a lot of games that do that well. It's mostly trying to get you hyped, whereas this game is just trying to like kind of bring you back down to an even level, which I really appreciate.
And my girlfriend was playing Unpacking, and she said it was very unforgiving if you don't put like something in the right spot. Well, specifically, there's this one level where you have like a corkboard and you have to put pictures on it. And she was like, it's a picture. It has to go on the corkboard. But she didn't have the picture in the right spot, so the level was unhappy, and she had to look it up. She's like, I knew it was supposed to go on the corkboard, but I didn't know it had to go on the top left and not the bottom right.
That is why my complaint is that you should be able to toggle an option to be like, I don't care about your puzzle. I just want to, like, I would love just a randomizer mode where you just open boxes of stuff in just empty rooms. I'm like, that's all I really want. Like, just let me chill. Like, stop trying to judge me.
That's a missed opportunity on the developer's part.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're giving that one to you guys for free, so do with it what you will.
Well, I
didn't play it.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same with Coffee Talk with me, too. It's like, after it was done, I'm like, man, I wish I could just do more of it. I don't even care if it's the same dialogue over and over again. I just love to sit in my coffee shop and just give people coffees that come in. I'll serve them. They can say the same 5 lines of dialogue you give them. And I'm cool with that, because I'll pop in, once a month and just be like, all right, my store's open. Everybody want to get a cup that's going to have some shitty latte art on it? Now, in this version, I just want to open some random boxes and just throw stuff on the floor. Like, I literally just moved all my apartment around because I just had a bed bug spray earlier today. And, like, even that alone to me, I love, like, being able to move stuff around and clean things up and make it look neat. Like, that was right up my alley with this game, too.
I just want to bring up the comment that you said that you want to play more coffee time, even if it's the same dialogue. I challenge that because I'm playing Skyrim and I'm pretty sure I'm hearing the same 3 lines over and over.
Oh, well, it's because your wife keeps going to the store and selling everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the same part in Whiterun where it's just, endless knee memes.
I know. I can say it by heart what they say at like the War Maidens when you go to like shop there. It's like ingrained in my head.
I mean, I'll forgive them because that game is ancient now, so
yeah, it's gonna be like the Manchurian Candidate kind of like code word to just activate me.
I didn't play Unpacking, but Garrett on my podcast did, and he loved it. He's with you on those types of games where you can just like chill out, relax, and like do something. I didn't hear him complain about these things. Maybe he didn't get that far in it, but
or apparently the game likes where he puts stuff. So
yeah, maybe he's just on the same wavelength.
I have a thing about I don't like games. This is the opposite of you. I don't like games that have me do chores.
Yeah.
Normally I don't either, but there's just something about specifically the act of unpacking and cleaning is something I do enjoy. Like if it was I've seen people play like Power Washing Simulator. I don't think I could do that. It's the same with like what's that game that was out a while ago where you're like cleaning up like bloody like battle rooms. I think it's Viscera Cleanup Detail or something.
Oh, with the Santa one?
Well, like the one where you just sit there with a mop bucket, just slowly getting rid of blood stains.
My friend's playing that right now. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm cleaning up Santa."
Isn't that Serial Killer?
That's the one where I'm not too big on because it is literally just that is literally doing chores. At least with unpacking, like it feels more like, oh, cool, I can do this. I can do like it gets my OCD brain going. Whereas like cleaning things, it's like I don't. Look, I like cleaning my stuff up, but if you want me to mop the floor, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge with me. So
you like unpacking, and you like them just like going and do it, but you have to do it their way.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll put the frisbee under the bed.
That's a logical.
Honestly, that worked a few times. Just throw it under the bed. It's like, oh, nobody sees it. It's fine.
Yep.
All unpacked. Your bed's like off the ground.
It's true to form. When in doubt, throw it under the bed. Problem solved.
That's called the 5-year-old cleanup.
No, that is the all the way up until about 25 strategy.
I'm giving you some leeway there, Adam.
Nah.
Liv, what about you? What was your number 2?
My number 2 game, which I'm not really known for playing shooters properly, but Returnal was my number 2 game.
Oh.
And yeah, a lot of people are surprised that I beat this game not once, but twice, and saw the true ending of the game. And I don't mean to brag, but it is the least completed game of 2021, and I felt so proud of myself that I beat this game twice. But I I bought this game not at launch, a couple months later, just because I was like, I feel like this game's gonna frustrate me. I don't really play games where I die and have to lose everything and start over. I'm not very good at staying alive. But it looked, I don't know why, but it gave me Control vibes. Like the monsters were really unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so that's not out there saying that. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. And the way that this game uses the controller on the PS5 is just so cool. When you could feel the individual raindrops falling on the controller, and then you have the alt fire that you have to pull all the way down. If you want to aim, it's just halfway. And then I just thought a lot of the things that you get to use in the game were like power-ups, and the story, it's fine. But the gameplay, I just thought was so good, and it was visually so beautiful. And yeah, I wanted to platinum this game, and I swear to God, the 6 glyphs or ciphers in Biome 2 are not there. I have cleared out that Biome 2 when I hate it, and whose job, this is my biggest complaint of the game, I know I said it's number 2, but whose job was it to put red ciphers in a desert that is orangey red? How? It's so hard to spike, just make it blue or something, just for that one level. Whose job was that?
No, just be better. Just be better.
Other than that, I have a really great time, and I'm really proud of myself. Thank you.
I really do want to play that game, but every time I see it on sale, it's barely reduced. I've seen what it potentially is going to be on PlayStation 5 coming in January, and it's still $60 here in Canada. And I'm like, look, I want to try you, just not $60 try you. I'd rather wait till it's below 40 or 30. Because if I don't like it within the first hour, I'm gonna be pissed. So
that's a game I feel would benefit from having a demo.
Absolutely.
I'm a PlayStation fanboy, and I would love to play it, but I'm not gonna drop $60 onto what I've heard is a very challenging game. And congratulations, Liv, on beating it. But a very challenging game, and I once again I played Hades this year as my first roguelite, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like it, but I'm not prepared yet to drop $60 on sale for Returnal just to find out it's not my thing. So I feel if I had a demo where I can kind of try it first, I think that's what I need to pull the trigger. Otherwise, I'm waiting for a $20-$30 sort of deal for me.
Because that's the thing too, right? With games like that are intentionally, you're meant to die a lot. I've for free, I've played Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and every time it's look, you're fun until you stop being nice to me. And then in which case, this is not fun anymore. Returnal, I get the same vibe of look, I'm probably going to enjoy the first hour of this game, and then something's going to happen, and I'm not going to get past it. And I'm going to be well, it was a good run, I'm done.
It's just I don't play shooters, at all. I'm just terrible. I have no aim. I can't aim. But so it's funny that this is on my list. And I don't play games where dying's a part of it. I really just usually put it on easy. I'm just I'm here for the stories. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna collect things. But I really, really like Control. And I was this is giving me something that reminds me of that experience. So after you beat the game for the first time, you keep the equipment that you need narratively. So after you beat the first biome, the second one, it gives you a grappling hook. So that's something that you get to have. So people say the game's not forgiving and stuff, but the upgrades that you get for your suit or that will help you explore water, because early on in the game, do not go into the water. You will die. There might be things at the bottom of the water, but you cannot go swimming. So you have to wait until the last biome that's underwater to be able to go in there. So the next time that you play and go into the first biome, you can actually go underwater and explore and won't die. So you get to keep those suit upgrades. So the second run that I had took significantly less time than the first one. But I found this game particularly challenging because I don't play games like this.
Well, it is a good shining review from you that it's the kind of game that you're not into, but you loved it. So that's a pretty good sign that it might actually be something that both me and Kaylan, who are nervous about it, might actually really enjoy it when we actually get a chance to play it at some point.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was definitely gameplay wise my favorite game from this year.
It does look buttery smooth every time I see footage of it. So.
There's so many cool things that you can unlock for your for your guns, they have like different mods that you can have, and once you like unlock it, all you have to do is like kill X amount of enemies with the specific mod. The next time that you like go on a different run, you can find that mod on a different gun. So once you find like that perfect combination, it's just like, it's wonderful. It's a great adventure.
Awesome.
I haven't played it, just like these two. I'm surprised you guys haven't played it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be Returnal Love Fest.
If it was as cheap as a
me.
lot of games are dropping real quick, I'd have it. I'd have it already. But nope. It's just that one game that doesn't seem to fall in price very often.
Even when it does, I mean, you guys are in Canada, so your prices are ridiculous.
Yeah.
But down here, even when it's on sale, it's still like $50.
Yeah, that's the
like
thing.
$20 off. Yeah.
Already, Guardians of the Galaxy you can get for like $30-$40 here, which is
I've seen it for
ridiculous.
25 if you don't mind physical, like
Yeah.
$25 down here. I haven't played Returnal because I don't like roguelites. And I've heard this game is super hard, and that's something that I don't like. But this is the closest I've been to like maybe I should buy Returnal because I love Control.
I love Control.
That game was so good. I played the Ultimate Edition in January. What a phenomenal game! And now you're over here like it's like Control. I'm like, oh god.
It's the guns. It's like
I
the
feel like-
guns. It's just because you don't have to collect ammo that automatically reloads itself, and it's just like the powers, and it's just like so awesome. But here, the game is hard. But if I could beat it twice, anyone could beat this game. I suck at aiming. I suck at shooting. Ask Frui. I kill him all the time. That's why we don't play games together all that often, because he never finishes them because I blow his ass up. It's just like, and if I could do it, I mean, like anyone could do it.
I feel like I still need to verify this. You've said it 1,000 times. I need to play like one round of Back 4 Blood with you or something, just so I can be like, okay.
No, Back 4 Blood's not a good example because remember, she's just checking out the like decorations.
She doesn't shoot.
Well, then I'll make the zombies come to her while she's book checking.
Yeah, that does happen. But like, Frui can fact check me though on this because he has played Back 4 Blood for me, and he has hopped into my stream while I played Returnal. He's like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. I was like, I don't know what happened. Like, it gave me Control vibes. I'm like, oh, I'm a new bitch now.
So apparently, like, Returnal just gives you God mode for some reason. So
I don't know.
It's just she just gets hyper focused. Like everything just turns black around her, and all she sees is death.
It must be something that happens when the game starts up. It's like when sleeper agents get triggered, all of a sudden her just like sleeper FPS like skills trigger, and all of a sudden she's like, I can play games now.
It makes no sense. Like, I don't know who she is.
Yeah. Well, let's get Frui on the phone right now just to confirm. Can you call Frui right now?
You're like, shut the fuck up, I'm sleeping. Yeah, okay. And then you just go back.
The guys want to
what
know.
now?
The guys want to know if you really beat Returnal. Can you
guys, I could screenshot my trophies. Like, I did it.
No, that's clearly
I believe
Photoshop.
you. I
Not
believe
trusting
you.
it.
No,
I think
when I saw that stat this week, where it's like the least completed game of 2021, I was like, I made it.
You're like, I'm not gonna brag, but
myself.
now I'm definitely gonna brag.
I know. I saw it. I was like, oh, queen.
she's just sitting there on top of the thing. Fucking peasants not able to beat Returnal.
I saw a screenshot. I was like, babe, look, I did it twice. And she's like, oh, that's good. And I was like, yeah, thanks.
So you're technically like you account for double. You're artificially inflating that stat.
Well, because there's a separate trophy for getting the true ending of the game.
Oh.
And I was like, that's not the real ending. I need to know. And then like the story wise, like gameplay wise, game of the year, gameplay wise, story wise.
Wow.
Isn't it
He's
great
like,
though when so many
quote
games have
tweet.
true endings? You get the true ending, and you're like, I like the other one better.
Yeah. See, for me, one of the things with Returnal was, especially when it first came out, is that like you couldn't pause it, and it was like it's like a 6-hour run. Like if you get from start to finish, it's about 6 hours. And I'm like, I don't have 6 hours to like, with the exception of putting my game on rest mode. Like I don't have 6 hours to dedicate to get through a run. Like I
you
got
do
stuff
get
to
one
do.
save now.
Yeah.
Per run. Yeah. But the good thing about this game is they split it into acts. So if you wanted to, you can beat Act 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6. You don't have to do 1, 2, and 3. Although I did see someone play all 6 biomes. I didn't watch it, but I read that this person beat the whole game in less than an hour, and I hate that person. That is insane. That doesn't make any sense. You're a hacker.
Wait,
You know
so you're
what?
saying that it like there's 6 biomes
Crazy.
broken up in acts. If you beat the one act, it kind of like has a save point there.
Yeah, so the first time you play the game, like your very first there's actually like a fast travel between the two the acts. So Act 1, 2, and 3. If you die in biome 1, 2, and 3, sorry. So there's 3 acts. Act 3 is just the epilogue, so there's really 2. But Act 1 has biomes 1, 2, and 3. So if you make it through biome 3 and make it to the biome 4, you can die in biome 4 and not have to replay 1, 2, and 3.
Hey, Liv, you want to be
it
checkpoints.
does split the game in half. But
you want to be real angry?
Yes.
You want to know what the speedrun record is currently for the run that has all bosses New Game Plus completed?
Okay, I want to. Could we take guesses?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 45 minutes. Is it less than that?
37.
I'll go 23.
Almost 25:52 is the time.
How?
Possible. It's not possible. It's
See,
just
got her
not.
mad.
To beat the game one time, it took me about 35 hours just to beat it once. And then my second run was so much quicker because I knew what to do and I had my upgrades and stuff. But
Speedrunners are ridiculous. They can beat Mario in less than 5 minutes. What do you want?
Yeah, but Liv, remember, they're like glitching out and falling through.
No, that's
the menus
glitchless.
and stuff.
That was a glitch. I checked. It was glitchless.
They're not human. Like, it doesn't even, like, my brain can't even register even completing one biome because it's like, how do you even have time to level your character up? How do you even have time to purchase stuff to heal yourself? They probably don't even get hit. Like, it makes no sense.
Liv is triggered.
She's gonna turn her
bit.
PS5 on.
Yeah.
No, that's
now.
awesome to hear that. Like the acts act as like a little bit of like a checkpoint buffer, because that was one of the things that like
Yeah.
I don't want to start from the very beginning. And like I played Hades, and that is an awesome game, but like I felt like I was playing it, and every time you die, you go right back to the beginning, and it's like after a while, you're like, okay, this is starting to get repetitive in the sense that I've played the first level so many times, and it just kind of gets. It gets boring just because you've done it so many times.
That's going to be an interesting thing to say.
Splits it in two.
It's going to be a very interesting thing to hear you say when I know what your game of the year probably is.
You do.
And we probably should move on that because I know Liv's going to have to go in about 30 minutes or so. So we got to make sure we get her game in too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We'll go at a little bit of a faster clip here then. I'm going to do my honorable mention. This is like game that I love that doesn't deserve an award. And it came out last year, but I played it this year. I loved it. It's Cyberpunk. This game does not deserve
What are you talking
an
about?
award.
Top 5 nominee for best RPG?
You know, that top 5, nominated, RPG of the year nominee, Cyberpunk 2077.
Kevin's just disgusted.
It has its bugs. It has its issues. But that game also has, like, I loved it. I got lost in this, and I am completely biased. Like, this is a Kaylan game through and through. I love the Cyberpunk genre. I thought it was really cool. I cannot wait to go back and like when the next gen, version comes out.
Don't worry, it'll be just as buggy.
I played the PS5 version, and then the bugs weren't too bad for me. Like they were certainly there. I had some crashes, had some weird moments, but I love the characters. I love the world that they built. I love the story. Like I got so lost in that world, and I am here saying like, hey, this is not a game that deserves awards, but this is a game that looking back on 2021, I really enjoyed, and I still think about that game. I still want to go back and play it. I want to go play my Corpo Samurai Cyborg run. And so for me, like, yeah, Cyberpunk was amazing. Like, it was a lot of fun. I love the world. I love like the decisions that they made in that game. I just wish that it,
worked.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Liv. That's what I'm trying to say. But yes, I like what they were.
It was broken as hell.
Yeah,
so
my honorable mention would be like the
1.3.
biggest, like, what the fuck? Why did I get this at launch game? But
So I played it with patch 1.3 on the PS5, and it wasn't that bad. But yes, I like what they were trying to do. I wish they stuck the landing. That's
probably worked on it for like 2 more years at least.
Everyone
Once
on
again,
my podcast
I am
loves
not defending this game saying that like the issues are excusable. I'm just saying I had fun with this game.
You're allowed to have fun with it. We're just going to make fun of the game repeatedly until it stops sucking. It's like No Man's Sky. Nobody talks about No Man's Sky anymore. Why? Because they finally did what they were supposed to do the first time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've seen this game on sale at Target like 20 times for $10, and every time I look at it, I'm like, is it worth $10?
It is definitely worth $10.
And then I walk away.
It is definitely worth $10.
It is not worth $10 because it's the PS4 version and not the PS5 version that may never exist the rate that they're going because it keeps getting delayed.
It becomes a free upgrade.
But I don't want to play it now.
Honestly, guys, the memes have kind of like everyone's now just like, dunking on it for the memes. It is not as bad as the memes make it seem.
I'm waiting for the next gen because
I'm waiting for the next gen and still waiting 6 months just in case.
You guys are going to be coming back and being like, oh man, this game Cyberpunk is so good. And I'll be like, yeah, I told you.
It's probably more likely that she's going to go back and be like, it's still broke.
I played Cyberpunk before everyone got to play the game for real.
Yeah, look, here he comes with his Subino Corpo on us now. See, they got the conspiracy got him. They got him, guys. They got him.
Are we doing honorable mentions like around and then going back?
Yeah,
we'll do that. We'll do honorable mentions and like whatever you kind of like. Just give a tip of the hat to whatever game you want. Doesn't have to necessarily be 2021. This one's the loosest of the categories, and we'll come back to number one. We'll kind of finish off the episode.
I got a few honorable mentions. I'll speed run them. I'm not gonna go into just gonna list them off. The Gunk, it just came out.
I've heard good things about that. Yeah,
Adam, you said you wanted a chill game. This is a chill game.
That is exactly what I've heard.
You can relax. Control Ultimate Edition, Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
Yep.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I am 3 achievements away from having all of them.
I got to go back and restart again because I tried starting to play it on stream, but for whatever reason, I think because on stream you're supposed to talk. And I figured, Mass Effect, I've played that game so many times, I'll easily be able to talk now because I'm not concentrating. I played it and immediately just started hyper-focusing on the dialogue again. I'm like, nope, it's still the problem.
I just have to play all of them on Insanity, and then I'll have it all. That's all I need to do, which I just don't want to do because it's Insanity. You know what I'm saying?
Did you try doing a Renegade run and failing like most people do?
No, I've never played Renegade. I've always done Paragon runs.
I've tried, and every time I do, I'm like, oh, but I really like this character. I don't want to be mean to them.
I just don't like being bad in video games. Like, something inside me, I was like, hello.
The problem is it's not being bad. It's just being a douchebag. Like, that's the problem with Renegade. It's not being evil or being like, it's not even like chaotic neutral, where it's just more like you're just being an ass to like the people who deserve being an ass to. It's like, no, you're just a prick. I'm like, but that's not fun unless you're a troll but in which case you're playing Call of Duty multiplayer, not Mass Effect. But like a true like Renegade would be you just not following the rules and just constantly blowing shit up instead of, being diplomatic.
Last few Forza Horizon 5, my first Forza Horizon. That game is the most gorgeous game I played this year.
I'm trying to buy a Series X specifically for that and Halo Infinite right now, and it's going to take me a year to get that friggin' console.
It's beautiful. If you have a Microsoft account, they're sending emails out to buy bundles if you get lucky.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Strikers.
Still need to play that.
It's good. It's not as good as Persona 5 Royal, but it's good.
No, but
obviously. Last two are indie games. Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch.
Yeah.
That's a really good Metroidvania, if anyone's one. And I'm a sucker for any game that lets you play as an animal main character. And then Dodgeball Academia. Really good action RPG indie game. I got the 100% on that one. It's quick, like 9-10 hours. It's just really enjoyable. Dialogue's cute, funny, and then you play dodgeball as a combat. What's not to like?
Yeah, I still got to get around to it, but it looks like almost like if Dodgeball meets like Mega Man Battle Network kind of vibe to it.
That's a good way to it. That's a good way to talk about it for sure. And then I want to give one award. The worst game I've ever played, FIFA 22. I was scammed. I've played every FIFA since FIFA 13. I will admit that I shouldn't because they've been getting progressively worse.
You're part of the problem, Kev.
This one is utter garbage. It was the only game I've ever asked for a refund for. They denied me, and I threw a fit, and they just ignore me now. I was like,
well, I mean, it could be worse. You could have got the Switch version, which is literally a copy paste of like 2 games ago.
True. But yeah, EA, I'm done with you. I'm never buying another FIFA again, and I mean it. I waited the last 2 years for them to come to Game Pass. I'm never buying one again.
I still like, obviously being Canadian, I want to play like the NHL games, but every time I see EA Sports games, I'm like, this looks like 10 years ago. They just put a fresher coat of paint on it.
Yeah, that's why I stopped buying the NBA 2K games, because I obviously like a basketball fan, but like after NBA 2K20, like
they suddenly turned to EA Sports because 2K used to be like the king for so long.
I saw this tweet like a year before this game came out, and someone said, I think I got to the age where I'm too old to enjoy 2K. And I was like, what? Who would be too old to enjoy 2K? 2K20 comes out, I get it on launch day, play it, and I was like, you know, it's not that interesting. The story mode's not that interesting. And then I thought back and I had like war flashbacks. I was like, I'm too old to enjoy 2K.
They really need to come out with more arcadey things. Like NBA Jam should be something we see more often again.
NBA Jam is so good. On Fire Edition.
Like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, NHL Hits, like all those games. Like I go to the ends of the earth to promote Super Mega Baseball because that is the best baseball game that exists out there. They're so much fun. Like, that's the shit. Like, I'm okay with EA having their copy and paste little island over there, but, like, somebody needs to make, like, decent versions of sports that actually have, like, fun being the key gimmick and not realism, because I don't want realism in a sports game, because unless you're going to put this shit in VR, I don't care. I just want it to be fun, because, you know, I'm a sports fan, and I want to enjoy the sport, not, like, get bogged down in, well, you see, if you flick this stick in this specific direction, it's almost like you do this specific move that this guy did one time. I'm like, yeah, but it missed the net.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with, what we'll do is we'll go, Adam, what was your honorable mention game?
My honorable mention to game that should be on my top 3 list, but I haven't because I haven't finished it yet, Guardians of the Galaxy. I've played the first hour of it, and I freaking adore it. Not like I can't even talk about the story yet because I'm not there. Just the friggin' license music they managed to put together for this game. Oh my god. And by the way, the fake band they brought in, the Star-Lord band, I have that shit on repeat right now on my Spotify playlist. It's so good. It's so like bad 80s hair metal, but I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, this game is on my Christmas list, so I'm hoping to be playing it late 2021, early 2022.
Mm-hmm. Same.
While I still have Like a Dragon sitting in there, and I have Kena also sitting in there, and my buddies that my console share with has Horizon Forbidden West on pre-order, so that's also in the list. I'm like, oh god, I don't know what I'm going to do the first 6 months of 2022.
I'm so excited for that game.
It's a problem to have.
I'm going to play that day one.
It is a good problem to have, but oh, it's going to hurt because eventually I'm going to have to kick my Final Fantasy addiction to do it.
Yeah, you've got responsibilities to this podcast, sir.
I do. Responsibilities. You don't pay me for responsibilities.
It's an executive. No, we're not doing that.
You gave him the title.
It's a lucrative internship, sir. What you do here can affect your. You know, if you do it well, maybe there might be a position for you one day at, you know, Pixel Play Incorporated Industries.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you know.
Play your cards right, sir. Co-founder, he has to play his cards right.
I guess that leaves Liv then?
Yeah, Liv. Yes. What we'll do is, just because I know you have a little bit of a harder deadline, what I'll do is we'll do your honorable mention, and then we can transition into your game.
I was just going to make that suggestion too. Perfect.
Thanks for enabling me to watch the Lakers. They're going to lose, but, you know, I got to be there anyway. I have 2 game honorable mentions, and one of them is Kena Bridge of Spirits. Right, cutest game of 2021. Cutest.
I thought that was gonna be your game of the year.
It's not.
Got robbed for best art style to friggin' Deathloop at the Game Awards.
Agreed.
Oh my god, this game is so cute. I wish it had a New Game Plus mode because to go around, and I've only played it once because I don't want to go around and collect all 100 rots again to use all of my superpowers. But this is the cutest game ever. The photo mode is the best photo mode I've ever used in a video game. And I love that you could like either freeze it or it can have the dynamic camera. So when you move the camera, their faces and their eyes turn towards the camera. And when you want to take the picture, you hit X and it says say cheese. And it's so cute. And the hats in this game are so cute. They have the cutest hats. And you can buy like, I think there are only like 35 unique hats, which is kind of sad because there's 100 children to collect. And yes, I say children.
DLC's coming, don't worry about it.
So you have to buy a couple, if you want every kid to have a hat, you have to buy a couple of the same hat. But it's so cute. But I haven't replayed it because I don't want to collect all 100 rots because you need them to be powerful in the game.
But did you do the exploit so you can get the beat it on the hardest difficulty?
I tried it and it didn't work.
It got patched. Oh, it probably got patched though.
Yeah.
Because I got the platinum, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with using the exploit.
I tried it and it didn't work for me, and I was like, you know what, whatever. But it's so cute. I have so many pictures of them, and they do little poses. Cutest game of 2021. And my other honorable mention is something that Kevin said, which was Control Ultimate Edition. So I didn't want to like include like re-release games, but I really liked the DualSense features, and I thought this was really well done. This game came out in February, and I was like, oh, this is like, because it was kind of new in the PS5 life cycle, I was like, oh, this is like the coolest use of it, but Returnal blows it out of the water. But I'm a huge fan of Control. I love like the lore in Control. Favorite collectibles ever are in Control. They're hilarious.
And that maze level, like the maze,
with
that's like one of the best levels.
I was
of
about to
music,
say, like,
period.
speaking of music that I have on loop on my Spotify playlist, I'm still listening to that one song.
That is amazing. And
I
like
have
how they
it-
added the arcade so you could like go and replay levels.
Yeah.
I
So you
have
can
that
play it
song
as many as you want.
downloaded on my Rocksmith account so I can play that literally on guitar. That thing is so much
Ooh.
fun.
Cool. All right, Liv. So without further ado, what is your actual game of the year?
So my game of the year, my favorite game that came out this year is Life is Strange True Colors. And I'm a huge Life is Strange fan. And I really, really love Life is Strange, the first game. And I really like the prequel. I thought Life is Strange 2 sucked. But then Life is
Agreed.
Strange True Colors is, in my opinion, better than Life is Strange 1. And I think that is kind of a spicy take. Because a lot
like
of
that
people
take.
really love, a lot of people like Max and Chloe, but Alex Chen is such a unique character. And the fact that you can romance Steph Gingrich from the prequel is my favorite NPC in Life is Strange. And this is the first time Life is Strange was motion captured. And the mannerisms that Erica Mori does as portraying Alex Chen should have won her Best Performance of the Year. Instead,
I
it
saw
goes to
your
Lacey.
clip. You were so triggered.
Yes, that clip is literally everywhere. And I got something in the mail from YouTube from my short from that. They gave, if you submitted a clip from the Game Awards for like got shorted, they send you a little box and it comes with a YouTube gaming salt shaker for being salty. So thank you.
Nice. That is the testament to doing something right.
Yeah, so Erica Mori was robbed. It was her first gig, like major like protagonist role, and I was like, Queen, you fucking did it. You did it. Alex Chen was great. And to create another award, I would say that best new character, Alex Chen.
I'm really glad to hear you
really
say that
loved it.
because I'm a big fan of the original Life is Strange, and I didn't like 2 at all.
Yeah.
Which was sad because I actually didn't mind the Captain Spirit little thing they threw in there. I thought that was really good. But then I
Yeah.
play Life is Strange 2, I'm like, I cannot get behind these people at all. This just isn't working. So I'm
No.
hoping with True Colors that it kind of rekindles that because I'm a real sucker for these kind of games.
I love choice-based games, and I thought the characters were really interesting. And it's so beautiful. I really wish they would add a photo mode to Life is Strange. But I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, so I will be getting the remasters of Before the Storm and the original game. But I honestly love Life is Strange, the first game. And after I played this, I was like, damn, this is the best Life is Strange game. And I think people are going to be mad when I say that.
Speaking of those games, have you played Tell Me Why, which is the other one? And I love Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why was really good.
I was going to say, Tell Me Why is the only one. I haven't played Life is Strange. I've only played Tell Me Why, and I like
Oh
that
my
game.
god, Tell Me Why is so good. And I have all but one trophy because I will not play the douchebag way where the twins are not friends at the end. But I love Tell Me Why. That was great.
And
game.
that's the thing, like, I know a lot of people think of just Telltale for all this stuff. Like, really, Life is Strange, like, Don't Nod has done a fantastic job at doing those games. Just don't do anything else. The Vampire was really bad.
I bought that game on Steam and I tried to get into it and I returned
It's-
it after like,
it's
an hour.
not
And I was
fun.
like, why is this saying made by the people that made Life is Strange and that has nothing like Life is Strange?
Yeah, like you could have
take-
made
I
a
want my
really
money.
good Vampire Life is Strange game, but instead you were like, I'm just going to make this really crappy, like, indie-looking third-person adventure game.
Yeah.
And then there's just me and
Are you talking-
Kaylan who
is
are
it
just
that-
like, oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go.
Well, I'm going to move on to something different, so you finish your thought there.
I was gonna say, is this like that vampire game, the one that was like?
No.
No, I'm thinking something else.
What,
This is a
vampire with a
vampire.
Y? Yeah,
Yeah.
vampire.
No, Vampire. You guys aren't talking about Vampire, are you?
Yeah,
Yes,
because
we are.
I couldn't stand that game.
Oh, okay.
I was playing that.
Okay,
at one
then
point. It
I'm in
wasn't too
agreement.
bad.
I'm in agreement. I just tried playing it on PS Now, and I played for like 2 hours. Like, this game sucks. so I
It's
deleted
boring as shit.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's the game we're talking about. I was like, how
It's
is
bad.
this? How do you advertise this as made by the people by Life is Strange and then have none of the same
It
qualities?
is the
I
polar
feel like it has some
opposite.
neat ideas, but yeah,
Flunkiest
I tried
combat in the world.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
Donut is not a combat expert, so
See, I was playing. I thought it had some neat ideas, but I didn't get too far into it because I kind of drifted off. So maybe it is not the best.
see, it seems like there's
Advertisement.
two types of games. Like there's the Donut stuff, which is really emotional and like super like casual. And then there's the stuff like me and Kaylan are getting set for with Telltale returning with an Expanse video game where we're like, all right, this is going to be where the action is. And then Donut's like, but we're going to be chill. And I'm like, cool, that's what you're good at. Stick with that. I don't want to see you suddenly do action because we've learned with Vampire that you're not good with action.
Yeah. So we'll go backwards. Adam, what is your game of the year?
My game of the year is a cop-out because technically the original was not released in 2021, but the DLC was, and that's when I played it, so screw that. It's either that or I put a game that I think is like, well, Unpacking would be my number one then, and that would be weird.
I'm just waiting for it. If you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say, I want
Kev,
to
what do you
hear
think
it.
it is? I'll give you a guess.
No, I want to hear him say it first.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
There you go. There you go. That Yuffie DLC. is
God damn right.
fire. Oh my lord, I love Yuffie. I'm like, I want more of her. Because hot take, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake went on too long. The pacing in that game is all over the place, in my opinion. It's good, but there's some parts in there I'm like, we could have cut this. We didn't need this. I'm excited because I think they're changing it from the original story, like going in a completely different timeline thing. But that Yuffie DLC, oh my god, I loved it. I love that character.
I actually disagree. Like, I actually liked every single bit of it, but obviously, like, as one of the very few people in the original game that like Yuffie, I was very happy to see, like, see, you have no reason to hate her anymore. She is the friggin' best. And all I could think of from that game is like, oh, great. This game already made me suddenly really like Tifa, Aerith, Jessie, and now they added Scarlet in a bigger fashion
Jessie.
and
Oh, I
all
love
these other
Jessie.
characters. And I'm like, now you bring Yuffie in there. I'm like, guys, I can't pick one. Stop. And we haven't even gotten to the new game where you're going to see like Elena and other characters that we haven't seen yet. Please stop this. But yeah.
But if you had to rank them, what's your ranking?
Oh God, I don't even know where to. I need like an hour of preparation because it flips constantly.
I think Jessie might be my number one. And it's weird because she's not even a real character in the original game.
That's the thing, but it's because, like, and I know a lot of people said, oh, she's so overly sexualized. I'm like, that's her character. She flirts with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Going
like,
into it.
I did
into
not
it.
like the original 7 very much. So when I played this, I went, you know what? I'm going to give this a fair shot because maybe it's just because I played this when I was like a teenager and I don't remember it as well. So you know what? I'll play a better version. And it seems like they've done the combat a lot nicer compared to like, say, what they've done recently with 13 and 15, where they're just like either hold A and do nothing or hold A and swing endlessly. Whereas this felt like a good bridge between the two. But like just being able to walk around all the environments and seeing all these fleshed out parts of like what's essentially the first 5 hours of the game suddenly turned into this epic like runaround, and then adding things like the Yuffie DLC, which ties it all together. So you get to see things in a different light, and you actually, I mean, voice acting helps, but you get to actually feel what the characters are now instead of just, getting walls of text and trying to like kind of get an idea of what they're like. Now you get to see like Cloud is a fucking gem to me. Tifa's fantastic. Aerith said the shit word once. I
love
almost
Aerith.
broke into tears out of that. Even Red 13 is amazing. Like, holy crap. They made characters that I didn't give a shit about. All of a sudden, like, I love you. And then, of course, you get to the end of what Disc 1 was. I'm like, no, I like all of you guys, and I'm pretty sure you're all dying. This is not good. No. And then the game's like, hey, we're not going to be like the original 7 at all. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. That's fine. I saw a lot of people that were like, I don't like the fact that it's not by the book exactly like the original. And I'm like, yeah, if you want that, go back and play it then. It's right there.
I think it's awesome that they're doing something new.
Because now you actually don't know what to expect. Like, when you watch Star Wars Episode 3, sure, you might get to see a couple things here and there that you never know, but you know what's happening in that movie. What's the fun in that? 7 now, you got an idea where it's going, but you don't know where the crossroads going to split, which is what I like about it. Because I know exactly what's supposed to happen, but I don't know if A, the canon's going to happen, or if B, C, D, and all the way to Y end up coming in instead.
I maintain that they should throw a plot twist and have Tifa take the sword this time.
If you want to talk about how to trigger old Final Fantasy VII fans,
that's why I
my
say
God.
it for the most part.
The last thing I'll say, this is completely unrelated. Reddit, the Final Fantasy subreddit, just recently did an elimination pool, and I figured, 7 or like, I don't know, like 14 or something's going to win. 10 won, which was shocking to me.
I was going to say 10. I was over here thinking 10. Let's go 10.
I'm really shocked that like 10 won because I figure, everybody likes 7, or all the old school people will be like, 6 is amazing, or people will be like, 14's kicking it right now. No, 10. I was like, wow, I actually don't like 10 as much as I used to. I'm surprised.
I only played it once. I think it's a solid choice.
But yeah, 7 Remake actually popped 10 out of the 2 spot, because 6 is my favorite all time, but like 7 popped into 2 now because it's so good. Also, I guess it helps because it is a beautiful game, so it's going to age a lot better than, say, the original did. So, But now it also makes me like, because the rumors of a 9 remake being a thing, like I'm actually curious to see if that's true too, because 9's a game that I didn't really get a chance to enjoy that well, and since I really love 7, I figure, well, if they do the same thing with 9, who knows? Maybe I'll really love 9 too. But yeah, if you're a JRPG fan and you haven't played 7 Remake, please do, because as somebody who was going to wait till the entire thing was finished, there was no waiting for that. You should not be waiting.
I feel like Liv and Kaylan are looking at us weird.
Well,
I hear words.
I play Japanese games. This is pretty common on this show.
You guys have your little waifu conversation. It's totally fine.
That's okay.
No. I've never played Final Fantasy. There's too many games.
See, we have our waifu conversation. You have your, Jenny Bezos stories, and then Liv will sit here putting hats on everything and looking at books. So
we all have our role to play here.
It's hats now, so of course I will.
That's what we need now. We need a game that's literally just about like these humanoid books that just have like different hats on, and that's going to be Liv's Game of the Year next year.
Yeah. No, Horizon Forbidden West is coming out next year.
That's good.
That is true.
Oh, it's between that and God of War though. But
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried about Forbidden West only because I feel like I'm overhyping myself. Not because I think it'll go bad. I think just because like any game that I'm like this excited for usually ends up not going well, or at least not going as well as I want it to. Because that's happened every time I get an overhype status on a game. It always ends up being underwhelming. Mm-hmm. Now I don't think it's going to be Mass Effect Andromeda bad, but
I'm so excited.
I mean, actually, you know what? No, there's worse. It could be Cyberpunk bad. Just to throw another shot at Kayla in there. That death
Liv,
stare.
I want to be cautious of your time. We got about 5 minutes. I think we probably have maybe about 20 minutes left in the podcast. Did you want to stick around, or did you want to bounce?
I think I'm gonna I'll pop out so you guys can keep going, and I'm not like Lakers.
Oh, she's gonna miss my game.
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard some games tonight that I definitely want to check out. Like I saw Gunk, like when you brought that up, Kevin. I saw that it, like visually kind of looked like a little Outer Worlds style, but like you said, it was a chill game. So like in my mind, I already feel like I gotta watch a trailer or something to like figure out where I'm missing out on that connection. But that was something I had my eye on.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to do a real quick spiel before you bounce out, and then we'll let you go?
Oh, yeah. So thanks for having me on. I'm Liv. I'm one of the hosts of Between Two Gamers, and you can find my information on the Between Two Gamers link tree or Obire 10 link tree if you just want to skip that. But, Fruey, the man, the mystery, you can check him out too. He's on the link tree. But thanks for having me, guys. I really enjoyed the Game of the Year discussion, and I hope next year we have even better games to talk about.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Well, Kevin, it was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Liv.
Bye,
maybe
guys.
I'll invite you on my show one time.
We'll talk.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Liv. Enjoy your game.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
All right, now that she's gone.
All right, now that I can fix the transition here, because now it's a mess on the screen here. So give me 1 sec. Good thing I decided to fix it. Oh crap, it's still broken. Okay, give me a second.
Guys, now that she's gone, I have a hot take. I don't like Horizon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I played Horizon Zero Dawn this year, and the story's fine. I like Aloy a lot. I think she's a great character. But in terms of like the actual gameplay, I was like, I hate this. I did not enjoy
Really?
it. Yeah, the stealth parts were the most enjoyable for me, like sneaking up on dinosaurs and stuff. But like the traps and everything, not for me. I'm
That is
not.
a very interesting take because that is generally not the
I
popular opinion.
know.
Like most
I
people, I
know.
think would say Aloy. Like everyone in the story kind of falls between Aloy's fine to like Aloy's okay. Like, but what people really like is that combat of like finding and hunting dinosaurs and like
I hate the
shooting off a
dinosaurs.
rocket launcher off a T-Rex to shoot at it. Like that's a very hot take, sir.
Yeah, towards the end of the game, I was just running by or like riding by the dinosaurs. I was like, I can't be bothered to fight them.
I
I gotta
I'm
go.
sorry, I gotta represent Liv here. Horizon is a fantastic game and super imaginative. I have like a custom made like art piece up there just from Horizon. It is one of my favorite games of the PS4.
And listen, that's completely fine. This is me. I know. My brother's like the only human being that agrees with me. He played it, and I was like, "You got to be wrong, man!" Like the amount of praise this game gets, and then I played it. I was like, "You're right. I'm sorry."
Yeah, I
And-
wonder if it's one of those situations if maybe you just came in and like it was overhyped for you.
It's possible. I definitely think it was over. Like God of War, like
Mhm.
that was hyped, and that lived up to it for me. Like I
Yeah,
think God
like
of War is phenomenal.
I feel like Horizon is the bookend of a style of game, like because it came out just around the time, like it came out the exact same time that Breath of the Wild did, and like it is limited in terms of like it has that old school open world feel. Like it's not completely go wherever you want, do whatever you want sort of mentality and stuff. And so I feel like that's the bookend of a era of gaming in the sense of like now what we expect of open worlds is drastically different now. And so that's like I think now if you go to it, it's like it does have those things where it feels antiquated in some areas.
I mean, I will say too, like, I totally get why some people could not get into it because, to be completely honest, like, that kind of game is one where it's a hit or miss because you're going to get into a scenario where, especially because it's an open world game, like, it's very easy for those games to just come off not as interesting because, there, as somebody who does like the game, I can't admit there's a lot of nothing in those maps. Like, you can hunt a few monsters here and there, but there's a lot of dead spaces because that's just the nature of an open world game in general. Like, you can't have a world that big and it not be dead in places. So, like, I enjoyed it because I do like when games are really interesting to me visually, it's easy for me just to put on a podcast or music and go and clear the open world and then go deal with the story when I'm ready to go just ham on it. But like in the same vein of like I didn't like Valhalla because the map was too big and it wasn't catching to me. So I could have cleared that map like I would with most games, but sometimes it doesn't work. And I can imagine with Horizon for some people just something doesn't click right. And I've seen friends play it and say, I think Aloy's a terrible character. I've seen people play it and saying, I don't like the visual aspect. I don't like the dinosaur metal thing. Like I've seen people being like, I don't like the weapons. Like I've seen various reasons of why people don't like it. But then the people who do like it, they fucking love it. So I think it really is one of those cases of like the people who are into Horizon are really into Horizon, and then most people are on the outside going like, look, it's not bad, but like I don't see why it's like this 9 out of 10 like gem that everybody says it is, you know?
Rocket launching robotic T-Rexes is all I have to say. How is that not interesting? Like that is one of the most creative things that we have seen in gaming in a long time, and I think it's awesome.
Well, there also could just be the possibility that there are guys that hate women lead characters. So, there is always that group too, so.
No, I don't think that's where Kevin's going there. So.
No. I didn't say Kevin was going there.
I love Aloy.
But like you look at people on like social media, you can tell that there's those types that are just trying to downplay
there is
it.
a wide breadth of people on the internet. So
yeah, there are people fat shaming Aloy and how she looks in Forbidden West.
And I'm like, if that's fat shaming, like have you been to it? Like you're American, you know what real fat shaming looks like. So not that I'm saying Canada is much better, but America is pretty well known for it.
Like, damn it!
We're that audience Game of the Year, right? Game of the Year discussion, though, guys.
Yeah, let's get back on track. Kev, what is your game of the year?
I'm gonna stick with the weeb culture that Adam has set here. Tales of Arise is my game of the year, and I am a Tales. I want to preface this. Tales has always been my favorite JRPG series. I like it more than Final Fantasy. I don't really like Dragon Quest. I don't really get all the hype around Dragon Quest. So that one's not for me. But Tales has always been a series that I have loved ever since I played Symphonia. I've played Fantasia. I've played Vesperia. I've played Berseria, Zestiria, even like, and that one's bad. So I like the series if I'm playing the bad one. But with Arise, they switched to Unreal Engine 4. They give it a graphical upgrade, and this is a Tales game with a budget. They add a lot of quality of life features that were never present before. They make quick, fast travel much better. The environments look beautiful. The fidelity is a lot better. The story is really good. It's about two races in conflict with each other. One is oppressing the other. It's a lot of, racism undertones and that sort of thing, which they've touched on before in Tales games. And I think this might be why I like it, because Tales of Symphonia is probably my favorite game ever. And it draws heavily from that game. I like to say that Arise is very inspired by Symphonia and Vesperia. It kind of takes those two games and mashes them together. So if you like those older games, I think you'll really like Arise, because then you get a brand new combat system, which is way better than the last two. Because in the last two games, it was like choose main character's OP and destroys everything with some super power up move. This one, every party member, because they limited it, it's not 8 anymore, it's only 6. Every party member is viable. They all get their own unique play style, from a mage to a tank to a hybrid who she casts magic and wield a staff, which they've always had a hybrid character. So they do have the tropes, and the story can get a little tropey at points. So if you really have to like anime, I think if you don't like anime, you might not like the story. But it has some of the best cutscenes, man. They hired get the animation studio. It's one of the big ones though that does anime to do the cutscenes and the openings for this game. Absolutely stunning. I played in Japanese, so I can't say if the English voice acting is good, but I really like the story. I like how every character has their own arc and character development. I will say towards the end, there's a lot of dialogue and it slows down the pace a little, but it ends story-wise on a strong note. And then the post-game dungeon is maybe one of my favorite things, because it's an homage to previous Tales games. So if you're a huge Tales fan and then you go through it, you're like, this is strictly fan service, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, I've got my one buddy who is a massive Tales fan, and I think he hasn't gotten to that yet because his backlog is stupid long. So I'm totally going to be like, hey, we had a guy on a podcast and he said that was his game of the year. You want to add that to the list of like 50 games you're still trying to play? Tales has been one of those games that like I really try to like, but for some reason, and I think it's mostly the combat I just don't seem to mesh with very well. I think when I play, like if Tales had like a traditional JRPG like combat system, I think I'd probably get super into it, but because of the way that it's like a hybrid like beat 'em up sort of style, I think I've always had trouble with it. Similar to Star Ocean, where I don't end up liking it nearly as much. So, but like, and like I said earlier, like the fact that it got Best RPG at Game Awards, like that's big because now more people will take a look at it. And Tales is that series that just keeps crunching stuff out. And because I'm trying to think like how many they've done. I'm sure it's almost double digits if it's not above that now.
It is double digits. It's about, I want to say this is the 17th entry.
Okay, because I'm only thinking of like probably what's been released here. There's probably a bunch that never came this way.
There's a bunch in Japan that we never got, because Fantasia is like
that would have been, I think that would have been the first one on Super Nintendo.
That is the very first one. We didn't even get it on Super Nintendo here though.
I must have totally got it in from totally legal means back then.
The first time we got Fantasia was the Game Boy port, which was good. And then like you said, they have that sort of, it's kind of like a fighting game. It's a beat 'em up game. The fight you were usually confined to a 2D plane, and you would run back and forth and hit them. That's the older games. They've implemented 3D arenas where you go into like kind of a bubble and you can run around. That's like Vesperia, I think, might have been the first one to do that. In this one, it kind of keeps that theme where you go into a big dome, but the actual combat is way smoother. I would say it's more akin to something like Final Fantasy VII. It doesn't have the like stop and do a command, but it has combo trees and like you can set arts to link to each other. It's just a lot more. It's a lot smoother of combat. So I would say if the old ones put you off, this new combat system might be
Again, another case of like, man, if I could get like a quick demo of it, maybe I could get a better sense.
There's a
of
demo of it.
Oh, is there? Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes it even easier. Because like
Yep.
there was one of them that I really enjoyed a bit of, and I never finished it because I was only renting at the time. Because that was back in the day, kids, where you rented games. It was the PS2, and I think it was Tales of Legendia. I think it was.
Legendia. I think. Yeah. So I didn't have a PlayStation, so I've only played that one briefly through Parsect, where you can like completely legally download emulators. So that one I never finished. But that
Like
one
I
definitely has the old
tried
school
I
feel.
tried Zysteria recently when it was on really cheap. I really didn't
The
like
worst one.
Zysteria
That's
at
the
all.
worst story wise and like gameplay wise.
I watched the
worst
anime
one.
and I liked it, so I thought, okay, well at least I'll know the story a little bit. And then I played the game. I'm like, this system sucks.
Yeah. So the anime, funny story about Zysteria, the anime actually tries to correct a lot of the issues the story
Oh.
has from
Maybe that's
the
why it's so good.
game, because the game story, and this apparently is semi-confirmed, kind of a rumor, but basically the truth is the writer changed the story because Alicia, the main, like one of the main
Yep.
female protagonists that you meet early on, she's kind of written out of the game essentially, and then you get a new character, Rose.
I did
And
actually
she-
see that when people were talking about the anime. It's like Alicia's usually gone by now.
Yeah. So this is because the writer of the game liked the voice actor for Rose and rewrote the
politics
script
stuff.
to give. Yeah. So a lot of people behind the scenes are like, and I agree. Like Alicia was my favorite character. The way I was, this game is suffering because you just wrote off one of the good characters. It's just not as good. And Zysteria and Berseria are linked. Those ones are sequel and prequels.
Yeah.
I won't tell you which way if you ever go back and play them. But Berseria is way better, way darker story, way better characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it's something to take a look at with my JRPG fix because it's still going to be a long time before the next Legend of Heroes game comes out. So I got a lot of waiting to do before I get back into that train.
I still gotta play that series. I haven't. It's not one I've gone into.
Yeah, like the Cold Steel games. I think, have I mentioned Cold Steel on the show, Kaylan? I'm pretty sure I have, because I think I played Cold Steel 4 like in the early stages of our podcast.
Yeah,
like,
you have.
That is a series that I will tell people till the end of time. Play that instead of Final Fantasy, because those guys know how to write stories, because those stories make you love NPCs that you don't see for like 90% of the game. But they actually write it so that like, as the game goes through, and it's not even just 4 games, it takes story from like 5 previous games that they've done in the past. But like the NPCs from each game you'll see again, and they've like slowly moved on. Like one set of NPCs in particular, they were just like classmates, and then in the second game they're like kind of feeling each other out, and then by the third game they're actually like dating, and then by the fourth game they're like, yeah, we're like gonna start a family sometime soon. And you're like, it's such a little innocuous thing, but like because it's that attention to detail of like people are actually growing in the game, not just your cast of characters that you play as. Like everybody is growing. So it's one of those little like things. Like Liv would probably like that because it's that attention to details. But you know,
I'll have to pick those up.
it's definitely, and you're gonna probably see purists also say, "Oh, you got to play all the originals first." I would never tell somebody, "Hey, play 500 hours of content before you start this." That'd be like somebody being like, "Look, you can play this game. It's gonna be boring, but 50 hours later." Like it's that kind of thing.
Good.
It's like, stop telling people that, you got to do X amount of time before it gets to the good stuff. Or like X amount of time before you can start playing this specific thing. It's like, dude, if they want to pop in at like X game, who cares? Like if they like the thing, it's cool.
One last thing on Tales of Arise. Liv, if you were listening to this after the fact, you can go fishing. There's a fishing mini game, and there's a farming mini. You get to manage a farm in this.
Can you put hats on the stuff?
Just saying, you can. There's a owl collecting. Every area has an owl, and if you collect them all, you get cute little cutscenes. They're called hoodles. Adorable. Adorable.
You may have created a monster if she watches
they go,
this part.
Hoodle.
All right, that's the bug snacks kicking in too.
There you go.
Get it. Tales of Arise, though, phenomenal
Yeah,
JRPG.
I mean, you know what? I'll actually go see the demos on PlayStation and see if I can get a hold of that. And yeah, I probably should take a look at that because I really keep wanting to get into them, but it's just that kind of game that just for whatever reason never clicks. So maybe this one will.
Yeah, the demo starts you with every party member, and like it puts you in the middle of an area, like they doesn't mean anything because it's just for the demo. But the combat, it'll throw everything at you at once, unlike in the real game where you get mechanics.
Yeah, you get it more
introduced slowly.
gradually.
So like the demo can kind of sometimes feel overwhelming, but I definitely demo is a good shot.
Okay, well, I'll probably take a look at that too. Same with like Gunk and a couple other suggestions we've heard. It seems like I'm gonna have a list of things I'm gonna have to check out at some point now.
And
Seems
the
like
gunk
it.
is super short. I just did a review for it. I got the 100% in like 4.5 hours.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
Yeah.
That's
I think
awesome.
it's your turn.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I guess after we've gone back and forth, I could say we looped per se around a couple of things. I guess it's time to end off with Kaylan's game of the year.
Oh no.
Yeah, so actually, before I go with my game, we did throw it out into the Discord group where you guys can all join us if you want to be part of the show and discuss with us. I asked some of our listeners and friends what they thought was their game of the year, so I thought I'd just share a couple of those.
What, all
real
the wrong opinions?
quick. Oh, different opinions, Adam.
Well, I didn't say mine were right. They're always wrong.
Fair enough. So we kind of asked the Discord. Jin and Chris said for him, honestly, I think it might be for Forza Horizon 5. The visuals, the crazy races, it's all just tons of fun, and I keep wanting to go back for more. So just like Kev said, fantastically looking game, and yeah, definitely one for them. And then Taslet said, in his opinion, it's Hitman 3 for sure. In his opinion, it's the replayability. It's a short game, but there's so much to do and redo. And despite that, the last level being meh, the rest is pretty solid. So thanks, guys, for reaching out and letting us know what your game of the year was. As for me, Adam's been kind of hinting at it. For me, my game of the year has been Deathloop. So this is one, if you watched our earlier episodes, I was kind of like, why the hell are they showing us this Deathloop? I've seen way too much of it. It didn't advertise well, in my opinion. It didn't really sell itself, but I picked it up because it was getting fantastic reviews, and holy crap, does that game live up to the hype. I think this is going to be one of those games that people are going to slowly start picking up more and more and get that sort of cult following. So this game is basically just like Hitman meets Dishonored. So the idea of Hitman in that, you've got you've got a couple targets that you need to kill, but with the mechanics of Dishonored where you've got magical powers and like wacky, like kind of ways of doing it and stuff. And so for me, I like that game because you're on an island with only 4 parts of the island, like 4 little biomes and different times of day. And like, you're basically like, it's an onion that you're unraveling layers. And as you get one piece of information, there is now a new thread that you need to tug on to get more and more information. And so as you play each round, I felt it never wasted my time. So things like Liv was talking about with Returnal, or things that I found with Hades, those roguelike games where you're kind of doing the same thing over and over, it gets somewhat repetitive. Deathloop, I think, fixes that issue in that each run I'm getting something else. I'm learning something else. The idea is that I am not going to beat the game on my first try, no matter what I do. And so the idea is that I am playing these rounds to get more information and taking that information and bringing it back to the beginning and then coming with a new objective or a new idea based on what I found on the last level. And so there's so many different ways of tackling this, of dealing with it. And I just loved it. I thought the art direction was really neat in that sort of 1960s style. Like I'm not an art person in the sense, but like that, it had a unique art style in it that I think is going to sort of last for a long time. It's not going for that hyper realistic look, but it's also not 100% cartoonish. So it's got that sort of, I don't know, it's an art style that I don't really know the name of, but like it's got that 1960s feel. And I think the idea of just like how it does the roguelite, it's not punishing in the sense that I'm dying frequently. The idea is that I want to go back and redo the level from the beginning and take what I've learned in this run and apply it to the next one. And every round I'm getting more and more powerful. I'm getting more and more stuff. And so, yeah, I think it's reinvents the roguelite and does it in a way that doesn't feel like it. I never felt like in that game I was wasting my time. I think there was one thread that I was working on that felt like I was wasting my time, and it may have just been that I discovered it too late in the game. So when I was going back and doing those loops, it was kind of repetitive. But other than that one part, I thought it was great. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I think the acting's great. The story's great. The dialogue is great. Like Colt just always talking on the walkie-talkie is awesome. Highly recommend that game. And I think it's going to be one that more and more people are going to be playing. And I think it's been going on sale right now with like Black Friday and Boxing Day and all that stuff. So if you see it on sale, it is definitely worth a game picking up and playing.
It's been getting tempting, but I'm still not quite there, only because the backlog is just so bad that I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm buying games that I actually intend to play within like a month.
Yeah. Kev, did you play Deathloop?
No, I'm waiting for Game Pass. If I'm being honest,
Fair enough. It is definitely a game worth picking up though. Like if you get a chance to play
have they mentioned if it's actually going to come off of just PlayStation, or is it like exclusive like for a time?
It's a 1 year exclusive.
Okay.
So then it'll go into Game Pass. So I'm really just being cheap, and I've seen it for like $30.
Maybe that's my plan. Maybe if I get a Series X by the time the Deathloop goes on Game Pass, maybe that's my way in. Yeah. I'm playing the long game. I'm going to spend a lot of money to play.
Yeah,
to play
and
one game.
But to be honest, it does take advantage of the DualSense, so you do get that like experience with like the shotguns and all this kind of things. So like,
yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised honestly if Xbox somewhere down the road follows suit with a similar kind of controller setup. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they get into the production of like trying to do something similar in the long run, because people are really raving about what the DualSense 5 can do. So
honestly, I think it's the future of controllers. Really, it's like
I could not imagine a controller going backwards now from this.
No, I definitely think whatever the next gen Xbox and PlayStation, it's gonna be iteration on the DualSense. Both of them, I think they're gonna go that step further. Maybe Xbox comes out with something like the DualSense at a premium. The problem would be like only new games to be able to take advantage. Like,
probably be something like, say, like what isn't the like there's like an Elite controller that's like really way more expensive.
$250 though, and the quality isn't great. Like, so many of them break. Like the amount of times I hear people, I go send it back for the third time.
Like if they suddenly said, hey, here's this really intense one with the rumbling that's like almost like a DualSense or even better, and it's like now you charge it, it's like, okay, well at least you're offering something. But that's why, like, me and Kaylan have said so many times on the show, like, that's why we're looking, even though Kaylan probably will over me, but, like, looking at what the PSVR 2 could be, especially with DualSense technology, like, that's something that I'm really interested in see what they do with that, because now that I've held the controller, I'm like, okay, if you can apply that to VR, ooh, you can do some cool stuff with that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, Deathloop is one that I've heard. I know the media, the games journalists, they love that game. Reviewers that I like kind of aligned with, like Mr. Matty Plays, he tends to fall more on the side that he did not like the game and thinks it's worse than Dishonored, and was really surprised at all the like 10s and 9s that this game was getting. So I'm a little like, will I like it? I'm not a Dishonored guy. My brother likes Dishonored, but he is reluctant to pick up Deathloop.
That's my worry too, because I haven't been a big fan of Dishonored either, so I was really nervous going in.
So I'm going to echo this with you guys. Like, I played both Dishonors. I thought they were fine, especially like I like Dishonored 1 better than Dishonored 2, but like I'm not the biggest fan of Dishonored where I'd say, yeah, I'm a super fan, but I'm using Dishonored as a way of describing like the gameplay, in the sense of like, you've got like the shift where you can like jump from space to space, or like those sort of mechanics. Not trying to say that this is a Dishonored like experience, just that the gameplay borrows from that. And if you were trying to think of a game that has a similar mechanic, it's this, but it doesn't have the trippings that Dishonored has, in the sense of like, there's no consequence if you want to go down and mow everyone down.
I think that's why I'm at least curious, because while Dishonored is similar to what I said with Hitman earlier, where I'm like, if it doesn't really reward you for trying to be a little more aggressive, like you have to be a little more patient, whereas this Deathloop just seems like, go fucking nuts, like have fun.
You want to leave, like, if your idea of stealth is that you're stealthy if no one's alive to describe who you are, that is just as viable as a solution as being a perfectly timed ninja kind of thing.
Yeah. I've heard Deathloop described as Dishonored, but for like the mainstream can really digest, because Dishonored isn't something that like has really caught on. So
yeah, and I feel like it's a lot more approachable. Like, there's not that whole whale punk mysticism kind of. It's literally just, hey, you're on an island. There's something weird going on where you wake up every morning. Go kill some stuff. It might make things better.
You don't have to go there. It's just like, look, you have to kill these people, but by the time you get to this point, otherwise, go fucking wreck shit. Like that's basically Deathloop.
Yeah, and there's been some levels where I'm just going and I'm getting the one target, and there's some where I'm like, hey, dead men tell no tales. Let's do it.
And look, even if you lose, a lot more people lost before you, so
exactly. And there is a cool, like, if you do want to play the multiplayer, I'm not a griefer kind of player, so like I never went into the other people's games, but like you can play as Juliana, who's like the main antagonist, I guess, and like actively go out and try and sabotage players. And it was fun when they came into my games, but yeah, that's an option there too if you're like to go and grief other players.
I never really like games that do it. Like I've seen when you can do that in like Dark Souls and stuff, and I'm like, I don't get the appeal. Like, I mean, I get why some people like the appeal because trolls exist, but like I can't get the appeal of being like, you know what I want to do? I want to go play this game and not play the story. I want to go and ruin someone else's experience of the story.
See, the one that I felt did it really well was Watch Dogs. I felt like Watch Dogs like 1 and I think it was 2. Maybe it's 2 that just did it, where you could like go into other people's places and like hack them and stuff. And like there was no real consequence. Like if you got hacked by another player, it's like, okay, like that sucks, but there's no real. It's like if they jump into the game, it's a benefit for you to catch them, and if they beat it, there's a benefit for them. Like no one really loses.
Because like my thing is like if you end up being like really early into a game and there's just somebody who's been playing this game for months and is so good at it and just constant and just wrecks you immediately, you're like, okay, well there goes all the fun I was just having. Like that's why I feel with those kind of systems where it's like it's very easy for that to get ruined for you. I don't know if it's an option, but I'd rather be able to toggle like it being like I only want the AI. Because at least that's something. And
I think you can do that. You can turn it
off.
If
you can do that, then that's fine. Because then that way you can avoid potentially like people that are really stupid good that are doing that.
I never had anyone who maybe I had one person who came in, but like I didn't notice a huge scaling issue in terms of I had people come in and wrecking shop because I don't think you get to bring in your own stuff. Like they sort of have a pre-built class and you have to use with it what
but you're still talking like if you got somebody who's been playing this way more than anybody else, like there's always going to be those couple of guys that are just going to walk in and they know every system in and out. So
and this is the thing that I did like about Deathloop is because it is that just 4 biomes. Like I got to the point where I knew the levels, I knew where things were, I knew like shortcuts and stuff, and that's something I find that you don't get a lot now with games, and that you get that familiarity with a level where you're like,
it's almost like a game that teaches you how to be a speedrunner without actually becoming a speedrunner.
Exactly. Yeah. So cool. Well, that concludes our game of the year. Kev, how are you doing for time?
I'm good.
Okay. We've been doing this thing since you came last time. We have a little game that we do now every week called Trophy Stumpers. So what we do is I give you guys on this time, I'll give you guys 10 trophies from a game. And you guys have to try and guess what game it is based on the 10 trophy titles I give you. How does that sound?
Okay. All right. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
So far, I'm undefeated. I keep wondering if it's going to be the week that I finally can't win it.
We'll see this one. All right. So I'm just going to read the titles. There is no consequence for like, I think we'll kind of make a rule. You can like do maybe like 3 guesses so that way you're not just like listing random games.
Yeah.
How's that sound? Okay. Well, you guys get 3 tries to name this game. Okay. Now, we'll go with it and see how it goes. So, first trophy title, Hands Off My Stoner. Okay. Second trophy, Island Liberator.
Oh, I feel like I know what this is, but I'm blanking. It's on the tip of my tongue now. Okay.
Third one, Road Trip. You guys can talk amongst yourselves too if you guys have ideas.
Is it Far Cry 5?
Is not Far Cry 5.
Is it Far Cry 3?
It is Far Cry 3.
Oh, I know.
My brain went Far Cry, but I'm like, I need like one more thing to trigger so I know which one it is.
I knew it was man. I knew like which one. I was like, I'm gonna go 5.
I legitimately remember Island Liberator, so like I'm like, oh crap, I know where this is
for me too.
And that's what I was kind of like. I was trying to throw that in as like a bit of a red herring. So, so the other ones were Rebel with a Cause, Heartless Pyro, because like that level is the best in the game, where you're like going up and just lighting up the whole marijuana farm. Poacher, which I would give you that sort of hint of like hunting animals. Full bars, taking out the radio satellites. Higher Than a Kite, once again, just that. I think there's a paraglider in that, or hang glider in that. Fully Inked, and that was going to be one of the big clues in that. Like I think that was the only one where you
actually that if I got this far, that might have started throwing me off.
Really?
Well, it depends. Like some of them trigger certain memories. Like Island Liberator was like, okay, like I can immediately put something to it. Whereas like All Linked Up or whatever that one was, I would be like, oh crap, this could be way off now. I could be like completely out of it.
I'm happy I got Far Cry. Like,
No,
I got
that's
the number
really
wrong.
You
but,
basically made me go,
yeah.
okay, he's on the same path I'm on. All right, I'll throw out a guess here. Eventually, at this rate, we have 3 tries each. We can't be wrong if we guess all 6 of them. Actually,
and
that's a
then
lie. Primal exists. We might have been screwed.
The last one I was going to give you, which I think would have probably given away, was the trophy Have I Told You?
Yeah,
It's
that
like
would have
that
done it.
definition of insanity kind of thing. So,
God, what a good villain Voss was.
right? And then they get rid of him and put some random ass guy at the end.
It's all, yeah, you know what? Resident Evil Village took notes from Far Cry 3. They're like, hey, here's this awesome villain, gone in within the first act. It's like, gee, that worked.
Yeah.
Fun game.
Awesome.
Fun game.
But yeah, that's a little thing that we've been doing now.
That should have been my honorable mention. Honorable mention for game that totally screwed up your best villain you've had in a long time.
Awesome. Well, Kev, thank you so much for joining us. If people like your smooth, sultry voice and want to hear more of it, where can they find that?
They can find me over on Project XTalk. You can type that into the YouTube, and we'll be right there. We make a lot of gaming, mostly Xbox related content. Like I mentioned, we have our weekly podcast live Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, post Friday mornings on all audio services. So if you want to go listen on there, we're on everything. Just search and we will come up. Please drop us a rating, review. We're almost at 20 on Apple, and we want Spotify now. So if you go, rate us on Spotify, I will appreciate it. And if you leave us a 5-star review, I will read it live on our show. So come over, hang out with us. But thanks for the invite, guys. This is a lot of fun. I always enjoy coming over and then hanging out with you too. We'll have to have you back over sometime soon. Maybe for an event that's coming up. E3, is coming. We'll definitely try to do something for that.
What, you sure you don't want to come down for a State of Play for a show,
Listen, I'm always down to, if I'm home and free, I'm always down to react to State of Play. I will come over and be disappointed.
That would be very much like State of Play, yes.
We appreciate you whenever you join us. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we've done here, you can always find us by looking for us on YouTube by searching for Pixel Play Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. We are wherever you look for us. And if you want to be part of the show, we do have a Discord. Like I said, you could reach out to us through our link tree and find the Discord. Join us there, be part of the conversation, get your comments read on the show. Or if you want to interact with us more immediately, we are also on all your socials, including Instagram and Twitter, by searching for Pixel Playcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. We are going to be taking a break for the rest of the year. We will be back. What is the second week of January?
Yeah, that would be the 12th. Yeah, they would be the 12th, yes.
Yeah, so we will be back on the 12th. We post every Wednesday. But yeah, we're going to take some time off for the holidays. So thank you so much. And we hope you guys get a chance to rest, spend time with your loved ones. And yeah, happy holidays, guys. And we'll see you guys in the new year. Bye for now.